You're up and it's still dark. Kick back with a cup of joe. You know you've got friends waiting on 1620 The Zone. It's Happer and Schaefer. It's Connor and Mike. Listen on the radio stream or YouTube or podcasts. Anytime it feels right. It's Happer and Schaefer. It's Happer and Schaefer. Happer and Schaefer.
Welcome into Happer and Schaefer. Of course, I am not Connor Happer. And the person to my left is certainly not Mike Schaefer. We are scrambling to change things up here as weather is going to affect the Big East tournament out in, where is it, Joey? Warren? Are they in Warren?
Over in Mason, Ohio.
Mason, Ohio. I don't know what's in Warren. Someone said Warren. Is that where, I think that's where Jacob Padilla.
I think that's
basketball team.
Yeah, I think that's where Jacob Padilla is going to be
over the weekend for some reason, which is in the same area, but Mason, Ohio. So there's weather in the area there. They've changed things up. Creighton will be playing at 10 a.m. that you can catch over on Yacht Rock.
Yep, it'll be on Yacht Rock 1180.
And so Connor Happer will be joining us here around 6:30 on today's show.
Get up, boy.
To tell us about what's going to happen in the Big East tournament and talk about his travels and whatever
7:30
else
his time, right?
he wants to discuss
That's
here.
Eastern, right?
Yeah, 7:30 Eastern.
7:30 his time, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so not terrible.
No, he's fine.
He seemed to think that I would be confused when he said 6:30 that he was going to mean our time and not his time. We don't have a show on at 5:30 in the morning,
that would be.
So I was like, I'd still be on the Dodge Expressway. There's nothing I can do for you there. So we're changing things up today, but I'm kind of I got a few topics. So Severe's going to be joining us on Friday as well, unless something happens today that causes him to swear off ever filling in on shows again. So we'll see if we get through there. But I have some topics of conversation that I imagine will start today. We'll carry into Friday. Who knows if we'll even get into all the things that are listed down. But we have a good show for you today. So I mentioned Connor Happer at 6:30. So that'll be early here today. And then, of course, it's Wednesday. We'll have Sam McEwen of the Omaha World Herald on
Wonderful.
At 8:30. No Lauren Michelson today. She has other obligations, so we'll catch up with her.
Okay.
Next week.
This is becoming
This is
a bit of a trend. This is the second time I was on and Lauren was scheduled and we had no Lauren.
Okay. Wow.
I was the first person to put Lauren on a podcast. I was the first person to reach out to Lauren and say, I think you do really good work. Invited her over to Let It Fly. I don't understand what's happening. It's twice now.
Look.
There's something going on. I'm sending her a DM right now.
You should let her know.
I'm DMing her right now.
Do you think if she knew that you were on instead of Happer, it'd be more likely that she would come on?
She said, "Oh, if I knew you were on, I would have figured it out."
Well, there's still plenty of time.
We can ask if she wants to come on Friday. We only have one guest on Friday.
That's a good call.
That's true.
That's a good call. How do you manage that, man? Friday's usually the busiest day.
The way we put our schedule together, and we have enough other things going on Fridays, and it leaves it open that if things are happening, you can sort of add somebody.
Okay. Yeah.
And we finish with Jake Sorensen on Fridays, which is its own
goodness.
Usually finish with a crazy guest.
Dude, man.
Thing. So
he's out there.
You never really know what's going to happen in the 15 minutes. So
yeah,
it leaves people wondering,
Jake is a little possessed, I think,
for their entire week.
I agree. I think he's possessed as well.
He's a little possessed. He's the line from Back to School where Rodney Dangerfield goes, he's really, what did he say? He's really serious or whatever. The line basically ends with, about what? I have no idea. But he's just intense. About what? I have no idea. He's really passionate. Life in general.
The just general act of living and reacting to what happens as you live.
I just sent her a message saying, "Hey," with 3 exclamation points. That's it.
Nice.
We'll
see how that goes. All right. So on today's show, we are going to Obviously, we'll discuss Creighton's upcoming baseball game. We don't have a lot of baseball, as Michael is not the biggest baseball
I watch college baseball. I don't watch Major League baseball anymore.
Well, speaking of college baseball, we will talk a little about the ABS experiment that's happening in the SEC, and people online are getting mad about it in predictable ways.
People get online and they get mad.
More than just the ABS thing, I want to have like a little bit of an instant replay conversation with you.
What does the automatic braking system have to do with baseball?
Well, I don't know.
I have ABS on my car.
I think it's the I don't even know what ABS even stands for.
Oh, okay. Because I have ABS on my car. It's very helpful, especially.
I don't think it's braking here. I don't know exactly what.
Because that would be fun. I'm assuming it's baseball.
As a tennis guy, it's very similar to the Hawkeye system.
The Cyclops system?
Well, I don't know. Is that
where they display the video on the video board
of where the ball goes? It's Cyclops for Wimbledon. But I don't. Other places have different names for it. That is.
I always thought it was the Hawkeye.
We need that in every sport.
Okay,
I'm for that in every sport.
We will have that conversation a little bit later today. We're going to figure out if the Big Ten actually wants to stop spending, or if they want to tell everyone that they're not that interested in spending giant money on rosters. It's hard to tell if you read Pete Thamel's story from
Big Ten. Is Ohio State in the Big Ten still?
What is that?
Is Ohio State still in the Big Ten?
They're still in the Big Ten.
Okay, just checking because
I don't think they're the only one that kind of feels that way.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying they spend a ton of money, and I can't imagine them going, you know what?
We will dive into the NFL. This might happen a few times throughout the show. I have various questions.
I'm triggered by the NFL.
See where you're at with
You're
things.
Triggered?
Yes.
How about the lack of emotion in him saying he's triggered just now?
I'm
triggered.
I am not happy with what I just saw yesterday regarding the international games.
Oh, I hate the international games. The Saints lose a home game in Paris. I'm like, I'm going to go to Paris to watch the Saints. I'm not doing that.
They're pretty much.
I've been to Paris. Those people suck.
So now the NFL is going to remove protected home games for the international games, so they could just randomly throw Packers Bears over there, Packers Vikings, or
don't Jacksonville only has like 5 home games this year?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
That's
because
crazy.
They're renovating their stadium, so they're going to be on the road a lot.
Good for them.
Well, and then the next year they'll be in Orlando for a big chunk of this.
That is true. That is true.
And then Minnesota's playing. You playing the back-to-back London games or
they did
European
that last
games?
Year.
Oh, that was last year.
Who's this year?
It's Jacksonville's playing the back-to-back games.
Isn't there somebody else too? Is it just one team?
It's just one team.
Okay.
It's just one team.
That's just ridiculous.
Minnesota played back-to-back internationally. They played in Dublin and then they played in London.
Okay.
Yeah, they lost to the Steelers and then beat the Browns.
The second game though, I will admit, if you're over there for 2 weeks, you usually win the second game. Even Jacksonville does.
They the Vikings absolutely hated that experience. There's
I bet
a
the
whole
fans
story about it. It's like you don't feel comfortable for 2 weeks straight. Spend all of your time wondering what's happening in the other part of the world.
Yep.
So I don't know how popular that will be for teams that ultimately end up doing that year to year. We're going to talk some Metro recruiting. We'll dive into, and you had kind of submitted this, so I'll let you sort of take it where you want to go.
I did it because I interviewed Jet last night on the podcast.
Yeah, so
and we were talking about all the players on that Millett-Seltzman.
I kind of want to go through last year's recruiting class, guys, where they're going to go, because I don't know if everybody knows everything as it relates to that.
Right.
We can kind of look ahead because there's some people I would imagine that aren't going to end up with Nebraska out of the Metro. And the 2027 class, we can kind of discuss who we think could be of interest down the line there. I have a very random topic that has been sort of sitting in my head, and you seem like the person to deploy it on. Eddie George is going to be coaching against Nebraska this year.
Bowling Green, yeah.
There is a large trend. I read a good story on this out of the USA Today of former football players, largely African-American football players, that are going to the FCS to get their coaching opportunities because they're not going to get them elsewhere. And so I kind of want to dive into sort of your thoughts on this, how we think it will go. If this seems like it's a trend that's going to continue, we can kind of look at Eddie George just in general, who's an interesting figure in Nebraska history, as many sort of hold him in disregard for winning the Heisman over Tommy Frazier.
He doesn't like that, by the way. We brought it up on the air with him, and he did not think it was funny. He did not in any way
strike me as like a big humor guy.
He can be okay. But that topic, he wasn't down with it.
Okay.
He did not appreciate us telling him that he stole Tommy Frazier's Heisman at all.
Oh.
The interview went downhill from there.
Okay.
Let me just say, I will tell you, I did a little help last year with Deshaun Jackson doing some covering, a little bit of Saturday morning lines with the old Delaware State. Yeah, they did pretty well.
Okay,
good job by him.
About Delaware
I think he might have been like 9-3,
8-4,
8-4 against the spread though.
I
think he was 9-3 against the spread.
I forgot. Sometimes you and I talk about different records.
Oh yeah, we're talking about different records. Yeah, that's what I was saying.
I'm usually on the win-loss, and you're usually.
That's why I said Saturday morning because you don't get those lines until Saturday morning. So yeah, he was killing it, man. Good for him.
All right, and of course, end of the show, we will have our bracket sim of the day as we get closer and closer. We could probably. I don't even know who won in the Big Ten tournament yesterday, which explains how little I will care about it.
I watched the Nebraska. I listened to the morning game.
Yeah, so Purdue and Michigan State we had on. Michigan State won 8-4.
Listen to that.
Iowa, Illinois looked like it was a good back and forth game, and then I fell out of.
I watched Michigan game a little bit over Let It Fly to Sports Bar. I was watching the Michigan game.
Yeah.
I didn't see who won, but I watched probably 3 innings of it.
Speaking of things that I missed out on, I stopped paying attention to the NBA game last night.
Back-to-back nights?
No.
No, I'm saying, but the same thing happened back-to-back nights, right?
Well, I watched all of not all of, but I watched the end of Spurs Thunder. Like that, I was all the way through because that game was back and forth. Cleveland was up by like 16.
They were up 22 with 7.5 minutes left of the game.
I think when I was done with it, it was around 16, 17.
No, San Antonio was up for most of the
game.
San
Antonio was up.
Yeah.
Okay. And then
OKC
they came back to get overtime. Yeah. Okay. And then this time the Knicks were
down 22.
I thought they were down at halftime.
Winning by like 8? No.
Yeah, they were. Last time I looked, it was 9-2 in overtime.
Yeah, they dominated in overtime.
So, Joe, did you watch the?
No, I went to sleep. Yeah. I thought the game was going to be over.
The curse of the morning show. I don't know. Severe did the morning show for a while.
Yeah, I've done a couple different places.
Manages to only need like 3 hours of sleep on any given day.
I've never been a big sleepy guy. I don't know a lot of sleep guy. And this morning I actually made a nice coffee because I wasn't sure how it would be. And then I got in the shower. My phone clicked over to Yacht Rock Radio.
Oh, there you go.
And by the time I got here, I was ready to go.
Okay, what was playing?
When I walked in, Age of Aquarius, let the sunshine in, baby.
Okay,
it was good. Fifth Dimension, let's go.
He brought in the vibes.
I brought in the vibes. Yeah, 32-18 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it was bad. They went on a 30-8 run. I guess Atkinson.
30-8.
Yeah, 30-8 run in the last 7.5 minutes.
Give me a timeout.
He wasn't calling any timeouts.
Give me a timeout.
So I was watching the highlights, and every possession the Knicks have, it was against James Harden. He flailed on defense, just could not get a stop. And I'm guessing they're showing the highlights right here.
It was 22 points at 93-71.
It was like a game 7.
James Harden being isolated both on the television to show how bad his defense is and in the game.
This is why you don't trade for James Harden. He does not show
Hold
up
on
in
a
the
second.
big moments.
James Harden plays for the Cavaliers?
Yes, he does.
God.
They traded Darius Garland for James Harden.
They actually traded a lot for him.
That's crazy. Well, it feels like a game 7 by the way he played last night. If you look at the numbers, this is definitely a game 7 numbers for him. He was 5 of 16 from the field, 1 of 8 from 3. Yeah, this is basically a game 7 for him. That's how I know.
Game 7 in the last series, he had only 7 points, and
shocking.
They won by 30. He didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Game 6 at home, he had like 8 turnovers, and the Cavs lost that game.
That's him,
which forced the game 7 in Detroit.
And then they beat Detroit.
Yeah, they beat Detroit.
Was Detroit the number 1 seed?
Yeah, they were the number 1 seed.
NBA can't move. Like he can't move
laterally. Never could. I
mean,
he never could because he goes to the strip club too much.
7
people that go to strip club can't move laterally. It's kind of one of those.
Wow. That's look. I have not heard that.
I haven't heard it in a while.
Wisdom.
Yeah, it's true.
I'll have to.
It takes away your lateral quickness.
I know frequent strip clubs.
Yeah, check their lateral quickness. Do a little bit of I don't know, three cone drill. See how they do. You just came back from the strip club. I need you to do the 3-cone drill. Short shuttle. Come on. See how you do. Are you under 6 seconds? Look at that.
Incredible.
How much does he? And I know I'm the old guy here, but he is Fat Lever. Lafayette Fat Lever is exactly who that dude is. If he was playing right now, he'd be Jalen Brunson. He doesn't look like, if he walked onto the court at your local municipal court and said, do you want this guy? Would you pick him? Would you pick Jalen Brunson? Got a little belly on him. Doesn't look athletic. But he doesn't look athletic in any way. Look at him.
He doesn't.
You don't pick that dude. But he puts up, what did he put up, 40 last night?
Yeah, he put up a lot on James Harden. He went 7 for 11 when guarded by James Harden. So I know he had a field day.
9 for 15 against James Harden. Damn. Jalen Brunson just does not look like a basketball player, but he is incredible.
Yeah, look, I kind of feel like the Cavs needed to win that game just basically to announce themselves in that series. And then the way they lost it,
Yeah.
It
opens the door for this to.
This gave me PTSD.
Joey and I were over here
like,
yeah, we kind of
when the Celtics were up
by
20
against the Knicks. That flipped hard last night.
I had confidence in the Cavs winning this series. I thought Donovan Mitchell would pull what Tyrese Halliburton did the last 2 years against New York. Just absolutely dominated them.
How'd that game against Boston turn out?
Did not turn out.
Did the Celtics lose?
Yes, they did.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
Yeah. That's why I said it gave me PTSD from last year. Games 1 and 2, they were up by 20 in both games in the second half, and they blew it.
I just like hearing the phrase "the Celtics lost."
So,
in any time.
I know that you have a number of these teams, and so kind of what I wanted to do here in this opening segment, sort of based off the Knicks, and I don't have any like dislike of the Knicks that I can sort of explain, but I do enjoy when it doesn't go well.
The Knicks, really? Okay.
Yeah,
I just don't like the fan base.
To me, that's kind of just like Schadenfreude enjoyable about the whole thing when it doesn't go for the Knicks.
How old were you in 95?
95, I would have been, depending on the time of year, either 8
during June.
So, I mean, I have vague memories of John Starks and the Houston Rockets.
Where's the hate come from? I mean, that's the last time they were good.
Right.
Really?
I don't know. I think it's because they've sort of existed in this, like, the Cowboys are kind of in this level.
Oh, okay. The nostalgia team.
They get discussed, but they're also sort of like a comic fodder. Mm-hmm. And so this idea that you're supposed to take them serious.
Right.
You know, and they made it in 99 or whatever with Allen Houston and lost.
They scored like 40 points in a game.
Right. So they've hung around.
Yeah.
Then they end up hiring Tom Thibodeau, who I just have an irrational dislike for because he just kills everybody.
He plays his teams too much. Plays his players too much. Yeah.
And then so there's that. Like I can't explain it, but I definitely did not mind when last year the Pacers flipped it on them multiple times. And again, I'm not a big NBA guy, but for some reason, the Knicks fall in this category for me.
Your list is probably
like
fan.
75,000 teams long. But
the Knicks, the reason I have an appreciation for the Knicks has nothing to do with the Knicks. It's purely the Garden.
Well, see, I love
the Garden.
I want to go there very badly.
Yeah.
Like I have a ton of appreciation for like the brand and like the history of it.
Yeah.
It's just like the idea of the present day Knicks actually being good at basketball.
Yeah.
After most of my life sort of just being picked apart for everything they've ever done.
I was living in the Bronx.
Kind of hard to imagine.
From 73 to basically 77. So I was 4 years old when I got there. I was 3, but when I first remember basketball and baseball, I was 4. All the way till I was almost 8. I was living in the Bronx. And that's Walt Clyde Frazier walking around with the suits on. That's just one of the coolest teams.
Yeah.
Even Bob Bradley, who is one of the most square people in the history of the world, was cool, you know? And again, so when you got a chance to go to the Garden for whatever you went to the Garden for, whether it was a Garden show to a basketball game to a boxing match, it was just special. So I don't have any kind of dislike for them. The Celtics are the team I will always hate.
I knew that.
I have to hate the Celtics because if you're a Sixer fan and you're my age.
But that's a different sort of thing. What I'm talking about is like you don't have any real rivalry dislike of somebody. Or there's not like your team lost to them or anything like that.
No, that's just it. The Sixers. So you go through, start in 1980, right? When the Sixers advance to the final and lose the Magic Johnson he plays center in game 6 and they lose that series. Then you go 81, they lost in the divisional. 82, they finally beat them. They had multiple years where they lost to the Celtics in the playoffs in my childhood. And when they lost to them, it was always heartbreaking. And I went there when I was a junior in high school, and I'm from the South, and I've never seen that kind of racism. You know, it was just so racist there that I was like, okay. And then I started learning more about the things that they would say at the Garden to the Lakers and the Lakers fans and, that whole thing. And I hate the Celtics. I hate them with the passion of a son.
Okay.
And it's all about the rivalry because the Sixers lost to them so many times. Yeah. And when they finally did get over the hump, then they lost to the Lakers.
As it tends to be.
Except for 83, of course. Greatest playoff team of all time.
Is there when you care about a sport, you really, really care about it. So it's not like there's going to be an NFL team where this sort of exists to that, where you'd have a dislike of them for a thing that isn't related to the Saints or whatever else, I guess.
I have a really weird dislike Well, the Kansas City one has nothing to do with the Saints.
Well, yeah, I have a dislike
of
of Kansas City, and it's largely just because my childhood was forced to watch the Kansas.
Insufferable.
Like, that's that.
Yeah, it's a fan.
And there's also an inherent, like, when you live in a community and you're not part of that thing, it's easier for me to sort of veer to I don't really care for them to have success kind of thing.
It didn't hurt me. Living in Houston, I didn't hate the Oilers. You know, I didn't hate them. Other places I've lived where they've had a team nearby, like when I lived in Albuquerque, I didn't hate Denver. I didn't hate the Cardinals, whoever was the fan base. A lot of Raiders fans there. But there's something about the Kansas City fans. This is when they were bad, too. And they were irrationally mean to a Saints fan who was there with his pregnant wife and little kid, which I didn't understand at all. It didn't make any sense to me at all. You're horrible. You're running the option
experience ever.
Huh?
I haven't done the NFL away experience ever.
Okay.
The closest would be my dad and I went to Atlanta and we watched the Patriots and Falcons.
And the Falcons don't do the Falcons fans don't care about anything.
And they were just surprised they were in the game.
Yeah.
But other than that, like otherwise, every other NFL game I've been to, either Seattle. I don't care about the two teams that I have, or that are, I don't root for either of the two teams or have an opinion, or it's like been a Vikings home game.
Right. Seattle, I forgot about. I have a rational hatred for the Seattle Seahawks. I don't know what it is about it. My least favorite Super Bowls.
Did it go back to the Marshawn Lynch?
That was part of it because they were 7-9 and the Saints had won, and should have been playing that game at home. But whatever. I just don't like them. I don't know what it is about them. The city's fine. It's nothing special in my opinion. They have fish, so great. A lot of places have fish. Who cares about fish? Put gum on a wall.
I had a hatred for the Seahawks during that era too, just because of the Packers playoff woes against them.
Yep.
Just have the failed Mary game in 2012, and then obviously the 2014 NFC Championship game.
Yeah,
that was just not great. And then I just did not like Russell Wilson or Pete Carroll.
That's understandable. Who doesn't like Russell? Who likes Russell Wilson?
Nobody.
I've been to the King. I went to the Kingdome in '85. Went to the Kingdome basketball. Was fine. I didn't really get the hatred for the Seattle until that first Super Bowl they played in.
Okay.
Was it Pittsburgh?
The one where they lost to the Steelers?
Yeah. And Willie Parker had the big game.
Have they played in 4 or 5 Super Bowls?
I think 4, right?
I think
They've
it's 4.
lost. They beat the Broncos.
Yes.
Lost to the Patriots. Yes. Beat the Patriots. Lost to the Steelers. So those are the only 4.
Okay.
4 in this century. Amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy that when people have a team that's in a big city that hasn't been successful, like the two teams in New York, they look at Seattle and this outpost of the NFL and they go, why can't that be us?
Yeah.
Why can't we build through the draft the way they do? Why can't we hire better than they do?
I think it's more the Jets questioning themselves than the Giants, since the Giants have won twice in this century against the Patriots.
Right. Yeah. I think the Giants fans, though, right now in the last 5 or 6 years are feeling like the Jets because they've made bad picks in the draft, high picks in the draft. That's funny. This year when they had the top 10 picks, they were like, well, we don't want to be the Tippett O'Neal draft all over again. That's what all they talked about. So they have a little bit of PTSD with everything going on with them as well.
Everything just seems outsized and large when it relates to a New York franchise and anything that they do.
It is my favorite city in America. I do love New York.
I enjoy what I've got. I enjoyed the second trip more than the first because the first was getting a bunch of things out of the way, like doing
Statue of Liberty.
And then the second one was just like hanging out and going to a comedy show, going to different restaurants, like enjoying what makes the city unique.
It's special.
More than just like, oh, I've got to go see the Empire State Building and I need to walk around, I can't even think of the name of the area, Times Square or whatever else. Like that was all fine. But the actual and part of it is I spent a lot more time in Brooklyn the second time.
Oh,
which
Brooklyn's awesome. That's where my nephews live.
I think both of them live in Brooklyn. That sort of helped with it. But yeah,
I wish I did what they did.
I'm a city person. Like I come from an area that is not a city area, and I come from a hometown of 20,000 people. But I like being in LA. I like being in New York. The one city I don't like being in is Matt McMaster's Chicago.
I hate Chicago
because I find it to be the most overblown city in America.
I know.
Other than maybe Orlando.
No wonder why that
Orlando,
football team wants to leave.
Hate for the week that I spent down
there. And Orlando is not even. Orlando is Disney.
Yeah,
right. And it's not even.
And then,
Chicago feels like when you talk to their people, like they're the greatest city in the world. Yeah. And yes, you got big buildings. You got a river that goes to the middle of Champagne Green every year.
Part of
you got
it is
bad
nothing
pizza.
about it feels special to me because it feels like a giant Midwest city. It feels like larger version of any Midwest city.
Like it's Davenport, but bigger.
Omaha, but bigger. Minneapolis, but bigger.
Omaha's better.
I don't have any. I don't have any interest.
I have a real affinity for the city of Omaha, and not because I live in Omaha, but just living here over the years and then traveling other places. You forget what you have here.
Sure.
Quick in and out of the airport the majority of the time. People, the way they act, helping you. By the way, I had 3 people text me about that. They were like, "What is Schaefer talking about?"
I do not.
What is Schaefer talking about?
A timer.
That airport's great.
Wherever Josh Peterson is not, he may be awake. If he is, he's running or he's walking his dog right now. But he might listen to this open at some point. And Lauren, if she was on, could back this up. We come back from Houston from the basketball thing.
That was the worst week in the history of aviation.
Okay. You could pick any week that I have ever come back to Omaha and had to check a bag.
Okay.
It is a 45 to an hour.
I just came back from Philly and walked down there.
You could be the last flight coming in at 12:30 in the morning, which has happened multiple times, and not get your bag until 1:15 or
well, I'm sure at that time there's probably one person working.
Probably.
That's probably the problem at that time, because they don't want to hold people over and overtime and pay them more. So that's probably the reason. But I've never had that issue. And the last 3 times I've flown, they've forced me to check my carry-on because they don't have any room or whatever. So I've been gate checking.
But then they actually send it to the
city. And I've arrived here or arrived wherever, but here, and got my bags right away and didn't have any problem with it. So my thing is the line, right?
Yeah.
I'm through the line in 5 minutes. Anywhere else in the country, you're through the line maybe an hour. So I love that. But and more than just that, we have so many chef-driven restaurants. We have so many little places to go that are really cool, areas of town that are really cool. That's what I really like. And then you go other places, you're like, this is so run down. This is dirty. People aren't nice and all that kind of stuff. It's just, you appreciate Omaha when you go other places. I do, at least.
Michael Severe here for Omaha. We will probably talk some more Omaha here today on the show. Before we go, want to give a shout out to those watching on the stream. Appreciate it. We see you there. Be sure to hit us up on text, on Twitter, if you want to hit us up on the Zone Twitter feed, brought to you by Liquid Trucking. You can do that here today as well. So plenty of ways to get on the show. 402-951-1620. You want to hit us up that way. Joey would love to hear from you and get you on the show today. So we have a good show for you. When we come back, the co-host of the show of mine, Connor Happer, joins from Ohio. We find out if he ate Skyline chili last night.
Why you do that? I'm drinking here.
Why you do that to me? Maybe that's what he did. Maybe
it's so bad.
And that's what he wanted to do. All right, Connor Happer, next.
This is Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone.
If you ever want to get into geneticism, I studied that in college. So if you ever want to get into why somebody's got a widow peak or why they got detached earlobes or why they got a hitchhiker's thumb, I can handle that for you. Just give me your grandparents and I'll tell you exactly what happened.
Welcome back to Happer and Schaefer. That is Michael Severe, who is in for Connor Happer today, who is befuddled and on our screen as he's trying to figure out what has happened to the show that he is supposed to be in charge of. Connor, how are you today?
Hello, I'm good. No, I like where you're going. I don't know where you were going, but I like where you were going.
I'm trying to figure out why Schaefer has red hair.
Yeah,
I could explain it to him if he wants to. Just give me his grandparents.
Like
I'll tell you how it works.
A big problem, Michael. Like it's a situation that we need to get rid of.
No. It was more of an explanation of there's nobody in my family that it would make any sense where it sort of comes from. Nobody else has like any sort of red hair or any of it. And so I was saying that naturally Michael is presenting his case, and then Joey's like, "Hey, we're coming back on." And so you got the tail end.
I just finished it. Yeah, Josh Peterson too. Nobody redhead in his family. He's got the red beard, so we can figure it out.
My parents don't have any red hair. Like I think they told me that a great grandparent on my mom's side, like had it, but it's not like it's super prevalent in my family either. So yeah,
it's that regressive gene, man. It's tough. It's like blue eyes. Same thing. Tough. Hard to get rid of.
All right. Well, he's got the blue eyes and the red hair.
Damn,
all right.
Got both of them.
So, Connor, you are in the land of the Cincinnati Reds while we tie this all together. What do things look like today? Obviously, things got shifted around with the Big East baseball tournament. Creighton will be playing, I believe, St. John's today at 10 a.m. You can hear the call on Yacht Rock. What is kind of your expectation? That series took place out in New York, and Creighton went 1-2. They won the game on Sunday. You've told me previously St. John's has two really strong starters to go Friday and Saturday in their traditional weekend series. What kind of lies ahead for Creighton as they sort of figure out their path to try to get to the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, well, first of all, you do have to dodge the weather. As tradition would hold, it is you're going to try and just squeeze as many games in as you can as in a period of time. Like they need to play 2 today. So they moved us up to 10, and they kept the other game the same because they think the real problematic rain is going to happen in the middle of the afternoon today. So that's why they moved us up. And I don't think it makes a difference really one way or the other, except for, moving stuff around a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I think it's wide open. I think the whole thing, the whole tournament is wide open. I think all 4 teams are pretty even. Like, obviously all 4 of these teams played each other, and so somebody had to win the series. St. John's won all of them from all of the other teams in this tournament this year, and that's why they get the 1 seed. And then you kind of go down the line, and UConn beat everyone but St. John's, and Xavier lost to everyone but Creighton, and Creighton lost to everybody. So it's Creighton played all 3 of those teams on the road. They last year they beat all 3 of them at least 2 out of 3 at their home park. So it's the same 4 teams. I think it'll be these same 4 teams probably for a while, would be my guess, because they're the 4 that are kind of trying. If you look at the all conference teams that were put out yesterday, every single person on the first team was from one of these 4 teams that are here. And so I think Creighton's got as good of a chance as anybody, but a big step would be winning the first game. Nobody's come back to win this tournament from the losers bracket since 2014. It's been a long time.
I remember when Creighton joined the Big East and Ed Service was off the record pretty irate because he's worried about this. Was about elected commitment for baseball. Why don't you think and the funny thing is Big Ten felt the same way when Nebraska got there, but they kind of turned it around and people started getting committed to it. Is there any chance? Is there any money for these other teams to start getting committed to baseball?
Well, I think Creighton wants to. The idea. Yeah, the idea is that they want to be, the head and shoulders, like the gold standard of the league. And I think that's why you go out and hire a guy like Mark Kingston, and they're definitely investing into it for sure. And they have like a million miles over the best facilities in the league and all those different things. And they're building what they're building on campus. So I think that's the idea for Creighton. For the others, like the four, there's a clear separation as far as investment between the four that are here and the four that aren't. I think Georgetown is in the space where they have a pretty good coach, but they need the investment, right? And I don't, frankly, I'm not really sure what some of the others are doing. Like say Seton Hall and Villanova. It feels like they're kind of collecting paychecks a little bit, but St. John's is working in some confines, and UConn has the ability, some upward mobility, because they have football and they could pour a little bit of money into baseball. They have baseball success. They have baseball alumni and stuff like that. So I'd say Creighton and UConn are like the gold standard as far as that's concerned in the league.
Is Georgetown still playing on that little field behind the building next to the football stadium? Or I won't call it a stadium, next to the football field, or they built something new?
They have moved several times. I think there was a stat last year. They've had like 7 different home fields in a period of I don't know, a decade or something like that. They play at a decently nice place that's not theirs now in Tysons, Virginia. And it's like a travel ball, like nice travel ballpark, which is coincidentally we are playing in a nice travel ballpark today in Ohio. So yeah, it's not bad, but they've been a bit nomadic.
But how do you think, like, if Creighton were to win this, what does a path kind of look like in terms of how do they do it? Because the way this team sort of seems built to me, I feel like they're going to have to outslug some teams a little bit. Like they're just going to have to score runs at a pretty high level. Like I don't know that their pitching staff is going to find their way in a lot of 3-2 games, but that's just the outside looking in. I mean, if they were to win this thing, is the offense really going to have to kind of carry the day here?
The good news is you are not playing in a ballpark that is conducive to pitching. So like, yeah, I agree with you. It's a bit of an equalizer. The ballpark is in that regard. Creighton's, I think, they're 4 hitters with North, Waxman, McHugh, and Connor Capisi are, it just makes them deeper than anybody else in the league. I think everybody else has St. John's would put up a good argument. They had 4 first teamers, and those guys are really good as well, and including a borderline player of the year guy and their catcher. But like you kind of match it up, you get guys going at the right time, and I think they have a few guys going at the right time right now. It's going to be, gosh, I have the number on my prep sheet here. Like we're talking winners have scored at least in the mid-20s in terms of runs over 3 games. So that's what it's going to need to be for sure. Like up, potentially even upper 20s. I mean, last year Creighton had a 10-run game. But yeah, it is going to be a slugfest for sure.
What's the order of either NIL or kind of the profit sharing stuff for Creighton? Obviously, it's men's basketball, then it's women's basketball, or is it volleyball first?
Volleyball before, yeah.
Then women's basketball.
Probably. I think it's probably a mash after that.
Okay, and where does baseball fall?
Probably next, right after women's basketball. Okay. That'd be my guess. It's some of it is just based off success, right? Like or historical success, and and kind of where you're at, and how much it takes to sort of keep it afloat. But yeah, and they're getting softball there. That's for sure. They just opened up a new a new ballpark and stuff like that, and they've got to the Big East final the last 3 years now. So I think it's probably a big mash after that.
What's on the docket for when you are not at Prasco Park here this week? Like what are you going to do in suburban Cincinnati?
Great question. I don't know. So I'll tell you what's funny. And so first of all, you guys were talking about Chicago. It's funny. Like, so we had a connection at Midway last night, and you walk out once you get off the ramp, like once you get off the gate and you walk into the actual terminal of the airport, you are just like hit with a wave of panic. Like it's like walking into a Costco on a Saturday afternoon. Like it just smokes you. That's Chicago to a T. And then you get off the airplane in Cincinnati, and it's a beautiful wide open concourse, and there's no one in there. right? And so we walk through this little food court area, and look what I see. I'm going to put it up on the stream here. This is an ad for Oxford, Ohio, one of our cities of the day.
I bet they heard the segment. I bet they heard Bill Snavely.
And so then I had to tell the story about how we had William Snavely on the show, and that whole backstory, which is really good. I don't know. We had a couple good dinners last year. I'm sure we'll do the same. We'll have a wide open day after we play today.
How far are you from Kings Island? Because I've been there to ride roller coasters. How close are you there to Kings Island?
Ooh, let me check. I don't know. I haven't even think about it. You think we could go ride a roller coaster?
Yeah, you can ride a roller. Well, not in this weather. I don't think they'd be letting the roller coasters go.
Probably not.
But in terms of food, there was a lot of food places around there. I mean, we went on this whole roller coaster thing with Sandusky and Mason. And
I am currently 4 miles away from that.
Oh, there's good foods around. There's good food around there.
Close.
You should check it out.
All right, Happer, we will check back with you potentially. I don't know what your schedule is going to look like for tomorrow, so I don't know what tomorrow is going to look like. I hope that you get to do our show. If not, we'll listen to you on Yacht Rock, where you can catch Connor's call starting at 9:45 today. I believe you have a short pregame show, and then the game will go live at 10. So catch Connor on Yacht Rock. Creighton baseball takes on St. John's, first game of the Big East tournament today. When we return, Michael and I will finish up the hour here on Happer and Schaefer.
Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone.
If you are watching on the stream, Joey had the graphic up there for you. But if you weren't, we'll let you know 1620 The Zone and Arby's are teaming up for the Summer Sizzle giveaway. Turn up the flavor with the Summer Sizzle giveaway. Enter to win, and you could score a combo meal every week, all summer long. That's 13 weeks of hot, delicious wins. No cooking, no stressing, just sizzling bites on us and Arby's. Enter now at 1620thezone.com and make this your tastiest summer yet.
Have you tried the new menu?
I haven't.
No, I think they're
I haven't.
slated to swing by at some point here in the next few weeks. And
the brisket's not bad, actually. It's not bad.
It's good to know.
I usually get the smokehouse brisket over there.
They have this new brisket, this chopped brisket they have, sandwiches.
Chopped brisket.
The chopped brisket sandwich. It's a good. I didn't know what to expect.
I opt for the chopped brisket when you're given the two choices.
Because you get both. They chop it together. You get the fat and the flat.
I don't know why I would not go with the chopped brisket.
I don't either. I have no idea why you'd choose anything. People like lean, and so they'll go with the lean.
You
lean
hear that
usually
with brisket,
dry.
People are like, oh, it's a little too. It's like, well, it's kind of supposed to be in there.
It's supposed. It's fatty. It's a fatty.
It's supposed to it brings it out for it.
When we moved to Texas, the whole family came. My grandmother's there. Everybody's there. We all go. My brother-in-law's hosting, and he makes a brisket. And my grandmother turns to me and says, "That's the part. We should throw that part of the meat away. We threw that away." Because it was just all that fat.
Yeah.
That wasn't something that we ate. In Texas, obviously, they'll take 20 hours to cook it and make it good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's supposed to be. It's like a ribeye. It's supposed to have some fat in it.
Yeah. No, so, all right, we got a couple of minutes here. I want to ask you about parenting because I am in a phase of parenting right now that is difficult in a way that's like sort of, it's going to be a short phase because your child will eventually learn to explain things, I think, a little bit better. But
You hope.
You hope.
You have a boy, remember?
I have a boy. Right now, there is something bothering him, but we can't figure out what it is. You can ask every question under the sun, and he will tell you that he has an owie or that something hurts, but will not be able to vocalize or even explain to you where or how or what it is that hurts. He slept horribly last night. There's some stuff going around at daycare, but that's nothing that none of that is what's affecting him right now. How, when you had small children, how did you have to decipher what was going on?
Does he have an action figure?
What's that?
Does he have an action figure?
He's got a Spider-Man. I've tried the whole thing where it's like, hey, can you show on Mouse his favorite stuff?
Yeah.
Where is Mouse hurting right now?
Right, yeah.
Nothing
on that either.
No. He's like, Mouse great. Hudson's sad. And it's like, well, why are you sad, bud? What's going on?
Yeah, maybe nothing's wrong, and he's just being a toddler.
Okay. Because just a big emotion.
Toddlers just are going through all kinds of emotion.
I shouldn't laugh at this because it seriously affects many people, but he had it felt like schizophrenia last night. He would go through 4 minutes of just sheer joy, and then the littlest thing would be slight. And I know there's big emotions that come with toddlers, and everything
tons,
like that. Yeah. But man, it was a wild experience to just every 15 minutes felt like I hit there was crying. There was sheer elation. There was just coming over and hugging you randomly. There was joy. There was anger. It was wild. I felt like I had the whole parenting gamut last night. And it was just me for a decent stretch.
That's my youngest. That's how he was. That's how Logan was. Real anxiety filled. And because of that, it led to these wide swaths of emotion. And he was that way for a long, to probably he was 6. He was that way. And I don't think there's anything you can do about it. It's just you take care of them. You treat the symptoms of whatever it is, whatever's wrong. You make sure they get fed, and you hope they come out of it as quickly as possible. He even had, I don't know if you guys have gone through this. Have you gone through the night terrors?
Yeah, we have that a little bit. Last night there was a lot of just tears while sleeping.
Yeah,
he was still sleeping.
Yeah,
but also crying.
It's hard to explain. I don't know. I have the ability that I live with a therapist, so my wife can kind of figure stuff out a little bit better. But for the most part, we just let him be who he was until he got through it.
That's I guess that's the route that I will have to take. All right, we'll come back 7 a.m. hour. We are going to dive into Big Ten football spending. What a topic.
This is Happer and Schaefer on 1620, The Zone.
Welcome back here on Happer and Schaefer. I am Mike Schaefer, joined with Michael Severe here today as Connor Happer is in suburban Cincinnati. Big East Baseball Tournament. You can catch that on Yacht Rock. Coverage starts at 9:45. Game starts at 10. Creighton takes on St. John's. We just talked to Happer a little bit ago. And as we move forward here on today's show, I don't know, you're a pretty regular listener of our show, which I appreciate.
Yeah, sure.
I feel bad because you'll send texts and I'll see them and then I'll forget about them, and sometimes I don't get back to acknowledge them.
It's just me having a conversation with you. That's all.
Just like how I forget the emails.
You're a jerk. Set up. At least Schaefer's written back once. You and I written back once.
I've written back more than once. It's at least.
Well, I'm just saying he's never written back.
No,
so even the one is past.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Joey, you gotta communicate a little.
I have not been on top of that.
A little better than that. But so yesterday, Happer and I were in a discussion about Nebraska and spending, and it's sort of a double-sided discussion where you have the Nebraska wants to spend like Ohio State, but they also need to produce like at least in an Iowa or Minnesota. That was sort of the conversation we were having.
Yeah.
Well, Pete Thamel drops a story yesterday about just Big Ten spending in general and college football spending. And the reason it was sort of framed around the Big Ten, he was talking to a lot of the coaches that were out there for Big Ten meetings right now. And the general consensus that I could pick up from this Pete Thamel story, and I don't know if you read it or had a chance to read through it, it's really hard to tell to me if coaches care all that much, how, like, other than from a very personal, we don't want the gap to widen too much on us.
Yeah.
But if the money train is going to be there for them, and football being what it is, it kind of feels like there's at least a handful of Big Ten programs that are like, you know what? If we're just going to spend money and that money is allocated to it, we're going to spend everything we have.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really care how they rein this in, because even if they try, someone's going to be cheating, so we might as well just spend every dollar we can find.
Yeah, the whole idea of the university, it's a nonprofit, right? So you're not looking to make money, right? So you spend every bit of it, and most schools outside of Nebraska and about 15 other ones spend more than they actually take in, and they have a deficit at the end. The only way this is going to work, is for all conferences, is to, at the conference level, put some limits and punishments for breaking those limits in. I really believe you got to do that. A Tony Petitti or whoever else, they have to say, listen, we want this to work. We want to be competitive. Competitive games mean better TV ratings. Better TV ratings mean more money for you. We've got to figure out a way to make this balanced. And however that is, you can go with the ACC, who is saying we're going to pay more money to the teams that have higher ratings. The SEC, which is giving money to everybody and saying if you want to cheat. Whatever it is, you got to put some rules in and some borders to it, because it's going to get to the point where Purdue, Rutgers, Maryland, about half of the conference is going to be irrelevant. And you can't have that. You can't have, I don't believe, going forward, you can't have a half of your conference being irrelevant.
Yeah, well, I think there's an element of this where there's some teams or some coaches that are just sort of operating under the idea of, Pirates code. Like,
yeah. It's not just them. I believe it's I think it's the chancellor.
Sure.
It's the president.
Well,
it's the
at certain universities,
yeah,
absolutely. Because
all of that.
There's college football and college athletics exists in this really uneasy world where everyone thinks they know that the end game is the breaking away from the NCAA and a super conference and splitting up of what you have. And then there's this idea of, we want to keep things together. We want to keep things as they are. We want this all for one mentality of the Big Ten. But I think that's sort of losing ground all the time. And ultimately, the Ohio States of the world aren't going to want to continue to care about the Purdue and the Maryland and the Rutgers.
But they have to. They have to know that they're dependent on games.
Sure.
All this breakaway and the Big Ten, what are you going to do about track? What happens with volleyball?
Like
what happens to baseball? What happens to all of those sports? You cannot say we're going to have 36 teams or 38 teams with the Big Ten and the SEC. You can't do that. You can't still have an athletic department, because you can't just do it for football.
Yeah.
The ACC's not going to play you in baseball if you don't want to be a part of them in football.
Sure. I don't understand how any of it would work for other sports.
That's the problem with this. You have to have that. That's part of your esprit de corps of having a university. It's part of the whole idea that I'm going to college and I'm going to have this college experience.
But if you're the Big Ten and you're like, well, we don't want to self-impose anything here. We don't, we need the NCAA to step in.
But the NCAA is not.
And then they won't.
They have no power because they're just going to go to court.
Well, right. And I understand sort of where they sit in a lot of this right now, which is more or less, we don't have the ability to try every court case all the time. And if we try to put any guardrails in, someone's going to go do something. Right now, Will Wade is assembling the dumbest roster.
That's incredible.
In the history of college basketball, simply to go take it to court. Brendan Swordsby is going to go to court on really the idea of, I knew I did something completely and utterly wrong, but it shouldn't affect me. This rule shouldn't affect me in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
And if he gets a sympathetic judge in Lubbock, it might work in his favor.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what the NCAA is supposed to do. The problem for me with that entire organization is that they advocated all of that responsibility more than a decade ago.
The NCAA has always worked for the schools.
Right. And
they've never been completely independent. They're doing what the schools want.
It's the commissioner of football working for the owners of football.
Exactly. And the same thing
that
true.
Setup.
Yeah.
But the anger that you have as a fan is almost always going to be directed towards the NCAA or Roger Goodell or Rob Manfred more than the actual operating unit.
You'll be mad at somebody.
It's easier to be mad at the front facing.
Be mad at the chancellors and presidents. They're the ones that are doing these things. We point constantly at Petiti and your mark and all. It's not them. They're just doing what they're told to do. And it's the same thing true with the NCAA. They did what they were told to do. The schools asked in the 1980s, please stop this rampant cheating, enforce this stuff. They did enforce it at a low level. They killed Tulane. They killed SMU. They killed a couple of schools.
What happened to Tulane?
Yeah, they lost the whole season of basketball because they were handing out bags of money to my sister's boyfriend.
Oh, you're talking about Tulane football.
No.
Now it surprised me. Nobody knows that they have a football.
This was basketball. And so they cracked down on a couple of schools to say, this is what we can do, let's stop it. And I think it did cut back. But then it got to the point where it didn't matter anymore because so many teams were cheating or they were being financially, they were taking advantage of the rules that there's nothing they could do. If you wanted the NCAA to be the enforcement organization, right? Every single school and conference has to back them and say, whatever you say, we're going to do. We're not going to take it to court. We're not going to let these student athletes take it to court. We're not going to do that. If you really want them to be in charge, that's never going to happen. You do need a commissioner, though. You need a commissioner of college football. That has to happen.
How do you get that, though? Because you have the SEC and the Big Ten where they have diametrically opposed views on so many different things.
Yeah, sorry about that.
They're the leaders of.
So does the football. Every football team in the NFL has a different idea of what they want to do.
I get that, but that's a structured thing that already exists.
That's what you have to do with college football.
I don't know how you create that structure. How do you get them to come to the table on that?
Well, I think you come to the table and say, do you want to survive as an entity?
Yeah.
Do you want to continue to be able to make more money? Do you want to continue to be popular? Essentially, college football is the second most popular sport in this country. And it's gotten there because of competition, because live things in general have been what TV wants now. Because
and it's football.
You don't have any more. And it's football, right? All of those things together. So if you want it to continue, we're going to have to figure out a way to all come together. And I know the SEC and the Big Ten have different – they want to get to the same place, though. They want in the end to be able to make more money and have more of their schools be able to compete for championships. They should be able to come to some sort of agreement for that.
Yeah. Do you think there will be a capped limit on rosters in the next 3 years?
You mean for over the 110 right now or whatever?
Well, no, not in terms of players.
Or you mean
money?
No.
Right now, if we're talking about $40-ish million rosters for football.
I don't think so. So I think there'll always be the cap from whatever the revenue.
Sure.
There'll always be that.
There's always going to be that.
That's going to always go up. But I
don't
think
it's the outside money.
I don't think so.
Do you think there should be?
So who's going to do it? Who's going to implement it? Each conference itself?
I mean, that would be the sort of thing. If you do have a
commissioner that would be in. I don't know how you would do it. I could see saying
how you would police it.
You have a floor. Well, you know how you police it? Everybody's got to file taxes.
Yeah.
Right? You got to file taxes. So you put in place a finance system that says, listen, here's what you have to spend for a floor. Here's your maximum. I just don't think it's possible in this particular sport because there's too many schools. There's too many people cheating. I say cheating, taking advantage of the financial system.
Sure.
And I don't think you can stop that. The one thing I don't want to happen.
I don't know. Look, we're not that kind of radio show, but I don't know that you can stop people taking advantage of the financial system in our country at all right now.
No, not at all. The only thing I don't want to see happen, because I don't care about 24, I don't care about 16, I don't care about 12, I don't care about any of that. More games for me to watch, more games to bet on. I don't care. All I care about is for all of these schools to stay together. I don't want to see the super conference. I don't want to see the Big Ten and SEC pull away. I don't want to see any of that. I want to keep college football and college sports together. That is my only thing. I want everything else. I don't care how much money you spend. I don't care if the Big Ten wins 3 in a row, if the SEC, I don't care about any of that. I just want to have it together the way it is now, because it's as fun right now than I can ever remember it. So the football's better. The players are better. Everything is better.
What fascinates me about that, though, is right now I feel like the gap between the power conference and the group of 5 is like, for it to be as fun as it's ever been. In football, right. It's just massively spread.
Yeah.
Are you concerned about that at all?
No, not really, because really and truly, those teams never won championships anyway.
Right.
You know, you take BYU's championship in '84. Teams don't win anyway.
Sure.
Now, the one sport where teams got to the Final Four or got to the Elite Eight was basketball, you know, and then baseball. Remember, we had Fresno State.
Sure.
So you had a little bit of that, but football's never going to be that. They're never going to win. They're fodder.
Yep.
They're fodder for games, but I don't want them to go away. I want them to be fodder. I want Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Sun Belt, MAC. I want that. I don't ever
Do you
want
want any
away.
other system set up for those teams specifically?
No, I would not want a separate championship for them. I don't think. Keep everything together. You got bowl games set up. I don't think bowl games are going to go away because of the TV product. Matter of fact, I don't know why you can't just spin the bowl games into the playoff system. Even with the home games,
sure,
you can call it the bowl game.
Yeah,
you still put the sponsor on it. You still invite your people that you want to bring in that raise money. You can still do that. But I just don't believe that if you break off, that you can maintain the same quality of product that we have.
Yeah.
I just don't believe you can. That's what I want. I want the same quality of product.
Well, I think the big thing that you currently have, and it's a weird word to use because it doesn't exist for all things, but you have a structure that sort of, or a fencing that keeps everything in there.
Yeah.
If you bring that down and opens it all up, then it gets really awkward and messy.
Don't forget, last year, was it 2 years ago, where Northern Illinois beat Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Right.
2 years ago.
So the ability for that to happen is still there. You watch any game any week, something crazy could happen. Sure. That's still there. Obviously, those teams go away. It won't be there anymore. But I like the fact that that's still there. That even though they lost their best player to some Power 4 school, even though they lost their coach to some Power 4 school, you may not play well that day. You may turn the ball over. You may not be able to do whatever. Like Notre Dame couldn't convert on third downs that day.
Sure.
You have a chance to lose. So I want that to stay. I want that.
And that Notre Dame team played for the national.
And they played for the national championship. Exactly.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Here's what Matt Rule had to say for this article when asked by Pete Thamel. What stopped spending? Thamel writes, Nebraska coach Matt Rule joked that he's the guy with an opinion on everything except this. I honestly don't know. I would say there's not many times the NFL's salary cap gone backwards, but I don't know. Honestly, everything's so in flux. This is what fascinates me about these people that are in large positions, whether it's Matt Rule, whether it's Troy Dannon, any of the coaches, throughout college athletics. You are playing a game and you are asked to play a game or build a team or operate an organization. And there is no real established rules. I mean, there's some, but everything is, as he says, in flux. That would drive me insane.
All you can do is concentrate on the football.
He was so mad last spring.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't an understanding of how and when money could be spent and how it could be utilized. And you could tell he felt like their recruiting for last year was going to suck because they didn't know what they could do with the high school kids.
Right.
And they didn't really have money that they hadn't already spent they didn't know if they were going to be able to talk about money that could be allocated. They didn't know what the system was going to be implemented. You could just tell, like, this is a guy that wants to operate inside the lines as much as he can and not have to ask for forgiveness by doing something that would be then later considered wrong. And it just drove him nuts last spring. Like do you remember those press conferences where it would come up and he would sort of like make these remarks? And I felt like people sort of missed, like there was anger in there in his own sort of unique way of showing it. I think it would be really hard to try to build an operation to go out and recruit. And you don't know what your funding is from year to year. You don't know what anyone else is sort of operating under. It's kind of like college football has become Major League Baseball in terms of its structure of it's just an open market. Mm-hmm. Ohio State and Alabama want to be the Dodgers. They can be the Dodgers.
The difference is they aren't paying money back to Purdue.
Right.
Because
there's no rev sharing.
There's no rev sharing. Yeah. I think so Matt Rule, this is why you have general manager.
Sure.
You put that on the general manager.
Well, I think there's also a misconception of what the general manager actually is.
Well, that's what the general manager has to be.
Right.
Because the one thing that Matt Rule has to do above everything else is to win games on the field.
Right.
That's calling the correct plays in the fourth quarter. That's making sure that they run the ball when they're supposed to run the ball to kill 30 seconds off a clock. That's what he has to concentrate on. Right. That's why you have to have a great GM. You have to have a great staff, which he does. Dr. Elza and all those people, they understand what they're doing. Let them do their gig. Yeah, they're going to come to you and say, what do you need? Mm-hmm. But then they have to take care of all the rest of that. If Matt Rule spends all his time, and I think he spends probably 20 hours a day working on trying to make this place better and make more money, but the majority that's got to be spent on football.
Yeah.
The game of it, not the finances of it, and let them worry about the finances. And I know it's really hard because he likes to be in control of everything. He's a control freak, which is why I thought he'd be a good hire initially. But still, he's got to let that go a little bit. He just has to.
Well, right, because ultimately, as you said, it's going to come down, like his success here isn't going to be whether he's perfectly spent or achieved a $40 million roster. It's what you would do with that $40 million roster. Mm-hmm. Like that's where the conversation Happer and I were having yesterday. It's like Happer gets sick of hearing coaches and specifically Rule talk about where Ohio State is, in part because Nebraska hasn't done enough with what the money that it has right now.
Yeah.
And that comes back to winning games on the field, not giving games away, not giving games like Minnesota away or whatever else.
Every time you bring up the Minnesota game, I get mad.
So we rode together.
I know. It was such a miserable, it was a bad thing because we were coming back for a funeral anyway, but just the whole idea of you had one job, and that was to feed Emmett Johnson on that day. That was your one job.
This is why I will never get over the Dana Holgorsen
Emmett Johnson. We talked about it all week. This is an Emmett Johnson week. Give him the ball. Look at all the other running backs that had success so far against Minnesota. How about feeding him the ball?
Yep.
And you don't, it still pisses me off. But back to Matt Rule and everything they're doing. Indiana plays Penn State last year towards the end of the year. Penn State is a wreck.
Yep.
Right? They are a wreck. They sack the number one overall player and Heisman Trophy winner to make it second and I think 17. The ball doesn't hit the ground again until Indiana scores a touchdown to win the game. That's what football comes down to nowadays.
Yeah.
And Matt Rule has to concentrate on that. How is whoever the quarterback he has, whatever wide receiver he has, whatever offensive line, how are they going to play in crunch time? How are they going to win a game they're supposed to win, but they didn't play well, and they get over the hump? Every single national champion has, LSU didn't. Every other national championship, you have to do that. Other than that, everything else is just a little bit extra that somebody else has got to handle. Figure out a way to win that.
Yeah, that's an incredibly large part of what has to happen.
How'd you bring the Minnesota game up?
I have.
Now I'm in bad mood.
It's obligated.
I came in here listening to Yacht Rock, and now I'm thinking about the Minnesota game. How about the missed fade that Raiola missed to Key in the corner? He missed it by 15 yards. Then Minnesota comes back with a quarterback who I think is beyond average. He makes the exact same throw for a touchdown. Then the start of the third quarter, again, Key is running down the sideline wide open, and he overthrows him by 10 yards. They ran go back and look at they were going to run a wide receiver screen. That was a fake screen wheel route.
Yep.
Wide open. Both tackles missed the block.
Yeah.
All Raiola has to do is climb the pocket, one step, throw the ball in the wheel route. Maybe it scores. Nothing. Sack.
Yep.
That game, everybody was bad, but in the end, you got to point to the coaching staff. The coaching staff ill-prepared for it. They called the game poorly. They didn't, for whatever reason, they thought they were so much better than Minnesota. That game will go down, if it doesn't work out for Matt Rule, as one of the reasons why. It's a building block, Thursdays, building block for the reason why it didn't work.
Yeah. No, well, again, it comes up a lot because people can't shake it. Like, you can't shake the feeling
I can't
of
shake it.
That game.
I drove all the way there for Friday night misery.
Yeah, like a part of it for me is like I continue to be so unsurprised by what we saw up there because
of UCLA and
you knew they had multiple
ones. Yeah.
I mean, we don't need to turn this segment into talking through their greatest misses, but those games all have a similar feeling to me. It's they show up and they think they're going to win the game, and they look unprepared, utterly unprepared for everything they play.
You can have those early in your career. Hell, Nick Saban had them at Bama.
Mm-hmm.
You can have them early in your career. The problem is once you got through the first couple years, people don't accept those anymore. You just can't, because you've gotten over that now. But apparently, based off of year 3, they hadn't gotten over it yet.
Yeah, well, and we'll certainly find out in year 4 when you have games against Michigan State and you have a Maryland team that's going to be really interesting coming to Lincoln.
They have talent.
Yeah, I mean, these
talent.
are games that you're expected to win, that you kind of have to win if this season's going to be anything. And so we'll and then of course you have Rutgers and Illinois and Washington.
Can we just say it doesn't start till game 6? The season starts game 6.
It'd be nice if you just felt like Nebraska was definitely going 5-0.
They're 5-0. They're playing in game 6. That's Indiana coming here, right?
Yeah, that's second week of October.
Yeah.
Second week of October. So, all right, we're gonna step away here. When we come back, I'm gonna ask Michael Severe some NFL related questions as I dive into what interests him in the year of 2026 in the NFL. And I know it's not just his Saints; it's a lot more than that. Next on Happer and Schaefer.
You are listening to Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone.
Welcome back here to Happer and Schaefer. Mike Schaefer here. Michael Severe filling in for Connor Happer, who is in suburban Cincinnati, where the Big East baseball tournament will now have its third start time of the day, having moved from what was supposed to be, Joey, I believe, a 1:30.
It was supposed to be 1:30. Now it
was 10,
and now it's 11.
Now it's an 11 a.m. start, which, if that occurs,
it's going to be interesting. Because
seems to be a lack of confidence. As Michael Severe, I had looked at the radar yesterday and laughed about the idea of playing anything.
Yeah, it's not.
Certainly during the day. Maybe it clears up a little bit in the evening.
No, it doesn't actually.
Yeah.
The only break is they put the little thing for sunset. Other than that, it's just rain across.
So Thursday it opens up.
It's only 15% chance now on Thursday. Just drops.
So
again.
Thursday opens up. So I guess if you just push everything back a day, but then you have to try to condense it all into a short schedule because they want to be done by Saturday.
And they were already doing that, right? Because they were going to doubleheader. So it's already condensed.
Well, it's only 4 teams.
Look at that. Can you get any more green on the page?
Oh my!
Reminds me of the new trailer for the Lantern movie. That's what it looks like. Just a whole bunch of green.
Green Lantern has a movie coming out?
No, a TV show. I'm sorry. No, they have a series coming out.
Oh, okay.
Oh my! Our guy, Coach is in it.
Coach is in it?
Coach is in it. Yeah.
Coach Taylor?
Coach Taylor's in it. He is
Kyle Chandler's one of superhero thing?
One of 3 Lanterns that are in the movie. Because Guy Gardner's going to be in it. They got a Jon Stewart, that dude who's the karate military Marine guy. He's playing Jon Stewart. Oh man, it's going to be great.
All right. Well,
3 seasons worth.
You are far more down the comic book rabbit hole.
I live in it. Yeah, I got my tickets.
I gave up after I looked at this. I only watched one movie after Endgame.
Now I was listening when you said that, and I fell out of my chair. And I was standing.
I just hit this point where I was like, I couldn't keep up with it anymore. Yeah. And my interest had kind of waned on it.
You know why?
Like the moment had dropped off.
You know why? I'd say Connor the same thing. You know why? Because you're a baseball fan. It's 162 damn games. You have time for nothing else. Baseball takes away from your ability to be a good human going to movies and watching TV. Because there's so much baseball.
I have to agree with Severe. The season's way too long.
It's just too much baseball.
It's just a waste of time. They need to condense the season.
It's just too long. It takes away from everything else. It should not run into football. I've said that. I'll never forget. I was playing rotisserie in 2007, dominating the league I was in. I was in first place, doing well. End of August hits. I'm not watching that. I'm not paying attention to my team anymore. I'm watching football. I'm playing in 3 fantasy football leagues. End it September 1st. Start it May 1st. End it September 1st. Baseball season is over. You're not really competing with anything else. Perfect.
Look, I don't know what to tell you. I like my October
in March.
baseball.
Why?
It doesn't make sense.
Well, you got to start it.
And then you got to move around the World Series to avoid football conflicts.
Well, you don't want any conflicts with football.
You want to mess with football. Get out of there by
Nobody
then.
wants a head-to-head with football.
I don't want to
play every day of the week, so it's kind of hard to avoid it.
That is true now. Yeah. Now they're playing the great Wednesday games.
Yeah, we'll start with that. So I want to ask you about a handful of things as it relates to the NFL. We're going to do this a couple times throughout the show. We'll do this again on Friday. The NFL, my favorite league, your favorite league, America's favorite league.
I love it too.
I guess sorry, Joey. Joey also loves it.
Joey.
We'll start with this, which ties in Joey and his love of schedules, and you had just mentioned it. How do you feel? Because Happer has a much stronger opinion on this than I do. I'm in sort of the mindset that you are if you don't care how many teams are in the college football playoff.
No.
If you have the NFL on a day of the week, I don't know that I'm going to build my schedule around it, but if I don't have anything going on, and in the fall, I tend not to have things going on.
Mm-hmm.
Summer, I'm in a golf league, or it's nice out. My kid wants to be outside, or whatever else it is.
Mm-hmm.
Harder to do. In the fall, and it's November, and it's the day before Thanksgiving, and I no longer go out with my people in Columbus anymore,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't feel compelled to join my wife's people of Omaha for this. I can sit at home and watch football.
Yes,
I kind of like it. How do you feel about it?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I got an email from a friend of mine, actually, who said something is going on, blah, blah, blah. And I paged down and I saw September 12th. And I went, that's a Sunday. That's all I wrote back. That's a Sunday. I am busy. I am watching football.
That's the opening Sunday.
Yes, I know. I'm like, this is a Sunday. Are you crazy? The event was from 12 to 6. I'm like, you're out of your damn mind. I like everyday football.
I am surprised opening Sunday of the NFL doesn't have an even higher reverence than, like opening day for baseball is considered this big thing.
Used to.
Well,
like, when is it now?
Still.
The Reds play at noon still?
Well, there's things that have changed throughout time.
A little bit. They started a series over in Australia.
Not this year.
Well, they have done it in the past.
They have done that in the past.
Yeah,
they were in Korea. No, Japan last year.
We used to take off. Wednesday, Thursday, whatever that first day was, we would take, or Monday, something. We would take off from school.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And we would just watch baseball all day.
Yeah.
And it was great where I lived when I was little. Over the antenna, this is before cable, I could watch the Phillies. I could watch the Orioles. I could watch the Yankees. I could watch the Mets.
Yeah.
WR. Yeah, all those stations. You could just flip around. It was incredible. So they don't have that anymore. I think it's impossible now because of the way you want to spread your TV ratings out to have one day being your day. Now you can open on Thursday. Eventually they'll have a Friday game.
Yep.
The Friday game this week?
Yeah.
Yeah, right, this year?
Well, they got a Wednesday.
Christmas is on
No,
Friday.
I meant for the opening of the season.
No, they're
it's just Thursday, then Sunday. Okay.
No, it's Wednesday, Thursday.
They talked about doing a Friday game on the opening week overseas. I know they had talked about that a couple of years ago.
Well,
they'll eventually do that again.
They've done it in Brazil the last 2 years,
right?
But then they stopped doing it. Now it's just on a Sunday afternoon.
You have to find no, I meant like doing the Thursday opening game, having a Friday game, and then having your Sunday games.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So you just own the entire weekend, which is, I don't care. I'll watch the games anyway. Yeah. In terms of Thanksgiving, I don't remember in my life, and this is going back till I was 3, not watching football on Thanksgiving, no matter what was happening in the house.
Sure. Yeah. The Thanksgiving is.
Yeah. And then Wednesday night, what do you do on Wednesday night? I know some people go out for Friendsgiving. I know that. I never had friends, so I never went out for Friendsgiving. I never heard of Friendsgiving. Whatever. I'm watching football if it's on. I'm excited about it being on.
I have to watch it now that the Packers are playing that day anyway.
They're playing Friendsgiving?
Yeah, they're playing Friendsgiving at the Rams. They're playing at the Rams.
Oh, that's a huge game.
Yeah,
I saw that. I saw the wins. Every game on that Thanksgiving.
It's amazing.
They're all amazing.
You get Bills,
they're all great rivalries.
You get Bills, Chiefs that night. And then you have Cowboys, Eagles.
Yeah.
And you have Packers.
Was it Kansas City and Denver or something like that? It was the last one, but the Sunday night one.
I thought it was. I thought the Bills and Chiefs were on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, they're on Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay, what's the Sunday night game
of that week?
That was that week.
There was another. I thought Western. Sure. I thought there was a AFC West game in that night too. I don't know. I am not the schedule person anyway that Joey is. Yeah. I did not understand the excitement that people were doing of all the league schedules. Look, once it's out, just show it to me, and I'm not going to really care about it until probably August.
Right.
I'll watch sharp football to find out who's got rest advantage and all that stuff. But other than that, I don't really.
I looked at it to see when, if possible, I could get up to Minnesota to go to a game. And it basically is very few opportunities.
Sunday night football of that week is Patriots at Chargers.
Okay, that's a good one. I knew it was a West team
really,
in there.
Really,
that's another good. All those games are great.
And then the Monday night will be Carolina at Tampa for that Thanksgiving week.
Allegedly, 2 best teams in the South.
Do you think that part of why, and you mentioned it, some of it, there's a couple games that sort of start before that Sunday. I also think because college football has existed for about 2 weeks before then, you're already kind of in football mode. Whereas, with baseball, like there's college baseball, sure, but there's a gap there. I just think that's part of it. But
football mode. I watch preseason football, Schaefer.
Man,
I'm in football mode because I'm watching preseason football.
Joey was talking about preseason.
I used to watch.
That is like the one thing where I will I'll throw it on.
Yeah.
Just to have it as a noise thing in the background.
You still play fantasy football?
I do.
So that's what my investment for preseason was always a little bit of gambling, but more than anything else, it was getting ready for fantasy football. Now I don't play anymore in any leagues, but I still watch it to see.
You're just Jack Mitchell's GM for his rookie draft or whatever.
I would.
He always talks about that. He's like, I got to send Michael a text.
I will give you the rookies. I look at it and I say to myself, I want to see the guys that I watched in college that might get cut.
Yeah,
play in the NFL, and that's where you watch them.
That's kind of for me as a Packers fan, since they're on KTV in Omaha.
Oh yeah,
I get to watch. It's stress-free football, and I get to see guys that could potentially make a presence felt in the actual starting lineup. It's fun for me to watch all the guys that normally don't get the opportunities.
It's kind of always stress-free football when it's Jordan Love. You know, the 7th seed is about the cap, and so
it is.
Right?
You can't ever talk about him as a quarterback. I don't think you're allowed.
I think I'm allowed.
I don't think you're allowed to do that. You're not allowed to do that.
I recognize that my organization is never going to have a good quarterback unless they're 41 years old.
You've had good quarterbacks
at 41 years old,
and you didn't like them when you had them. Well, no, hold on. Cousins wasn't 41. Cousins was a good quarterback.
I like Cousins.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying he wasn't.
I like Sam Darnold.
You're just talking about
my organization doesn't seem to have any respect for someone that could be the 14th best quarterback in the NFL.
There's a lot of money you'd have to pay him. You know, they don't want to pay all that money.
They did not have to pay Sam Darnold that much money. They could have kept Sam Darnold for like $30 million a year.
$30 million a year. Think about that. What you just said. I know he won the Super Bowl, but before that,
he threw 35 touchdowns.
And in the last 2 games of the season, he played like crap.
I don't care.
And he reversed back to Sam Darnold.
Took in a lot of sacks in that wild card game against the Rams.
He still takes bad sacks. He's still turnover prone. They won a Super Bowl because they had a great defense. I know he made some plays.
They have a great running back.
He had a great running back. Like 1 billion yards against the Rams, everyone's greatest team last year.
I didn't think they were the greatest.
Well, people love the Rams. Yeah. This station love the Rams. Well, not just Bishop.
John Bishop is
not just Bishop. The guy who sits in this chair normally at 6 a.m., the guy who sits in that chair normally at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah. They loved the Rams.
You know who I am like a side Eagles person.
Yeah.
Because I living up there, all my friends are Eagles fans. And so that's who I always want to see do well.
Really?
Yeah. One, I love that color green.
Okay.
Always have. Lived up there when they were just coming around. That's when Vermeil took over. That's when I was living up there. And then all my friends are Eagles fans.
Yeah, I think there's always an element where, if you're a sort of a decent person, you want your friends to have.
I've always disliked Stafford, though, because of his wife. But I've always disliked Stafford.
Did she throw the pretzel at you?
She did not. It was not throwing anything. It was the comments she made about certain things. So I've never been a fan of hers.
I thought it was hilarious that there was a literal story about how the first Stafford to reach out to Ty Simpson was actually Kelly Stafford.
Really?
And it was funny to me because I viewed it in sort of the vein of, oh, this seems like something she would do so she could talk about it on a podcast.
On a podcast, exactly. That's who she is.
Like, eventually you get to so cynical of certain individuals that you can only view them through how they're going to commercialize or do whatever it is that they're going to do to promote themselves. Every news story involving her, I just assume is something she's doing to set it up to then talk about it so it can just be aggregated forever.
On the other hand, I love the Queen of Philadelphia. She is. I love her. I listen to her podcast. I follow her on Instagram.
Oh, the
Kelsey lady. Yeah. I follow her. I love for whatever. I love her. She's great. She's wonderful. The other one, I'm not a fan of.
Much like the royal family in Britain, I will never follow the royal family of the Swifts.
Really?
And Kelseys.
The Swifts out. The Kelseys.
Really care.
The Kelseys. Jason is an incredible person.
Jason is an incredible center.
One of the greatest centers of all time.
Who is now the most overexposed media personality.
There's too much of him
which is
TV.
Incredible because we have so many overexposed media.
It's not his fault.
Well, it's not his fault.
People are. Hold on.
I understand it's not his fault.
It's not Giancarlo's fault.
Can I get a 20? Let me get a quick 20.
Sure.
Mike Schaefer once appeared on 72 different shows every week, and he's talking about somebody else being overexposed. It's not overexposed. It's needed. They need him. They want him. They want his emotion. They want his creativity. They want the great beard, like you. They want all of that. That's what they want from him. You okay? See, you get choked up because he's so awesome. Love the Kelseys. I'm a fan of Taylor Swift because of her business acumen. I think that's incredible what she did. Music I don't know as much about, but I love her as a business person. And for the most part, I drafted Travis Kelce his rookie year and then proceeded to have him for the next 7 years in a keeper league. So I have an appreciation for him as much as I hate the Chiefs.
All right. I can accept that. I can respect
He's around for another few more years.
No, he won't be around for a few more years.
I thought Kelce signed in.
I don't care what he signed for. He's not playing next year. That dude is done. He is.
I'm genuinely surprised he's back to play.
The way do you see the pass he dropped into the year last year? And it was because when you lose that's half a second, all of a sudden you're not in the place you were. And you're not as comfortable making moves afterwards. Sure. A lot of his drops and fumbles were after the ball hit his hands, and he was going to make a move, and just physically he couldn't do it anymore. He's done.
Yeah, no, I'm genuinely surprised he's back. to play another season. But when he retires, we'll get to see him all the time, everywhere too, with his brother. It'll be great.
Do you think he'll be as much of a TV personality?
I don't know. He strikes me as much more of a kind of go away individual.
He's not as well spoken as his brother.
Well, no. And the thing is, it's not. I like Jason Kelsey.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy when he's talking about offensive line play. I think he's an incredible former football player. I think he's a great ambassador of the game. All of these things.
Yeah.
It's just with ESPN owning all of these properties and then needing to put him and Pat McAfee on everything.
Yeah,
it gets tiring just seeing it over.
And the problem is that
it is not his fault. He's just doing what his employer's asking.
It's hard for me to be angry about stuff like this because I don't watch pre-shows.
Sure.
I don't watch post-shows. I just don't watch this stuff anymore. I don't need it anymore. Like I want to get my football fix. I listen to a podcast from The Athletic.
Yeah, no,
and that's so
a lot of it is in your own control of what.
Yeah, I understand people who watch a lot. Like I don't watch SportsCenter anymore. I don't. Yeah. There's lots of I don't watch anymore, so I don't see those people. I know he's everywhere because I'll be flipping by and there he is on halftime of the Monday Night Football.
For me,
game.
It's almost always the social media aspect of it's just bombarded everywhere you go. You can't avoid it. It's like everywhere.
Yeah, my social media is not like your social media.
You cultivate better. Than
I will cull the hell out of us.
All right. Well, we're going to see what Joey culled for us with headlines for today when we return here on Happer and Schaefer.
Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone.
Welcome back here on Happer and Schaefer. Mike Schaefer here. Michael Severe sitting in for Connor Happer today, who will be calling Big East baseball if weather allows. Game currently slated at 11 a.m. on Yacht Rock, but I have an opinion. I don't know if that's going to start on time.
Not if they don't want to. They want to play in the rain. Sure.
My thing is, you shouldn't start a game if you think you're going to have to delay it, and so, unless you have pitches, like a big enough window,
right?
You're going to screw up everybody pitching in that format. All right. Before we dive into the headlines, which are not now called Swift headlines, apparently I said something very weird.
Yes, you did.
I did not realize I said this at the end of last segment. She's just pervasive. She's in everything.
She is.
She might even be at Funplex because 1620 The Zone and Funplex are teaming up for the VIP Friends Night Out giveaway. Grab your crew and level up your summer plans with VIP Friends Night Out giveaway. You could score 6 tickets to Nights at the Bay at Funplex, a private cabana, and a $100 to party in style. $100 gift certificate to party in style. On select Saturday nights, the Funplex Water Park transforms into a high-energy dance party with Nights at the Bay featuring live bands and the best DJs bringing nonstop hits and summer vibes. Belly up to the Tiki Bar at the 1,800-square-foot pool. I said that weird. Complete with perimeter seating and island bar tops. Enjoy a cold beer, frozen drink, or Funplex famous watermelon. Enter now at 1620thezone.com for your shot at the ultimate VIP night out. Must be 21 to enter.
One summer, it was so hot. Did a live shot from there. They had to put ice in the lazy river because the water was so hot. They put ice in the lazy river.
There's a lazy river over at Funplex.
Yeah, they do.
There was when this is probably like 06 or 07. Okay. Yep. All and right. It was
never been a Funplex here in Omaha.
We've been a couple. Took the boys there a couple times. Okay. It's fun. You know what it was? It was fun.
Nothing but fun.
It was fun. Went there and then the one in Papillion. Those 2 places.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, Joey, what do you have for us today with the headlines?
Okay.
We'll see what Michael wants to select.
This is food related. So the first one, bizarre fruit dispute ends with area man setting apartment on fire.
Okay. All right.
Then the second one.
That's hard to say. A fruit dispute.
Yeah.
Wow.
So second one, speaking of food, let us introduce you to the live frog found in this grocery store salad bag.
Okay,
I definitely want the frog one.
Okay, we're going with the frog.
Yeah. Have you had frog legs?
I
want to try
in a seafood platter, maybe.
I don't think that I have. I feel like I've had a lot of stuff similar, but I have not had frog.
I've been to the Frog Leg Festival.
There's a festival?
There's a festival for everything in Louisiana.
Okay, well, Louisiana.
I believe it's Rain. It's either Rain or I think it's in Rain, Louisiana, with the Frog Leg Festival.
All right, this takes us to Melbourne, Australia. When Australian farmer Reese Smoker announced he'd found a live frog in a bag of lettuce, his housemates didn't believe him. Smoker had been preparing a steak and a salad dinner on Saturday for the 3 people who share his house in Esperance in Western Australian state when he spotted the frog among the leaves inside the sealed plastic bag he bought from a supermarket. Housemate Laura Jones said on Tuesday.
That was a weirdly written sentence.
That was very poorly written.
Yeah.
It was read poorly by me, but I was led astray.
Yeah.
He's
it was alive.
He's like, "Oh, bro, there's a frog in the lettuce." And we're like, "No, you're taking the mick. Like, that's not real," Jones told AP. Taking the mick is a slang term for attempting to fool someone.
Oh,
look at that.
Got me. I didn't know that.
Smoker brought the bag into the lounge room to show Jones and her partner, Billy Lee Pine. Obviously, there's a little frog hiding out, and yeah, we all had a little laugh about it. Lee Pine said they named the frog Greg before releasing it at a pond near the house.
They named the frog Greg.
Why Greg?
That's awesome.
That's interesting.
I don't know.
We thought we'd send him a "We Send Off" tune as we played Crazy Frog for him, Lapine told Australian Broadcasting Corp. Crazy Frog is a Swedish CGI animated character and Eurodance musician.
That is awesome.
Smoker and his partner, Lily Ashby, had bought the lettuce at a Woolworth supermarket in Esperance the same day Greg was discovered.
This is why it's one of the happiest places to live in the world, because they just have fun. They got a frog in your salad? A live frog in the salad and they end up making it into a celebration.
Woolworth said the frog in the salad was an isolated incident.
Oh, I hope so.
And there have been no other similar cases reported. Our teams are investigating this with our suppliers as a priority, Woolworth's statement said. Woolworths apologized to the household and provided a replacement bag of lettuce.
First of all, it should have been a box. If I am Woolworths, my statement says simply, we did not charge extra for the frog. Period. Exclamation point. I'm out.
Greg was a contest.
So it is Rain, by the way. Rain, Louisiana. They have the Rain Frog Festival, which I've been to. And right across the interstate is another town that has a strawberry festival the next weekend.
We're going to do this now because you're going to be in on Friday. What is our city of the day this week? Pick a city in Louisiana that you think I should learn more about.
Wow.
You don't have to do it right now.
Oh, I got a great
just think about it.
I have a great one.
All right.
I have a great one. Yeah, a great one.
We'll do that on Friday. I'm going to learn more about Louisiana and all the random festivals and things.
There's over 365 of them.
I have really only spent time in New Orleans and a
One
little
for
bit
each
outside
day.
of New Orleans in the Bayou. Other than that, I've not been in Louisiana.
The one I haven't been to yet is the Oil and Brine Festival.
Amazing.
Celebrating oil and brining food. That's what they do.
Okay.
Yeah. Can't wait.
That seems like a worthy
I'm going to
thing
retire. I'm going to get an RV, and I'm going to go to all the festivals.
See, I want to retire, get an RV, and go to a bunch of random football games throughout a week in Southern
We do that on the weekend.
America.
I know the perfect guy.
You know the perfect guy?
I know the perfect guy. He
Okay.
works at a deli at Hy-Vee.
Okay. All right. Well, we are going to take a break here. We will come back, and we're going to talk about Metro football, some of the guys that are going to play college football elsewhere, and who we think Nebraska might have missed on from the very talented 2026 class.
This is Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone.
Welcome back here. We hit the midway point of Happer and Schaefer today. I am Mike Schaefer, sitting in the one chair. Michael Severe filling in for Connor Happer, who will be doing baseball should weather allow. Game slated to start 11 a.m. Creighton, St. John's on Yacht Rock. We will keep you posted if that is to change, and we suspect that it might.
So it's halftime. You got any music? Halftime music?
Joey, do we have halftime
music?
That could be
halftime
a
music?
segment.
No,
halftime music?
No, I don't.
You should have halftime music. Little drum line action from the movie.
I was thinking about you the other day.
That's why I have that music playing coming back from break.
That was your halftime music?
That was my halftime music.
Listening to a podcast where one of the guests was talking about how they used to go to their high school football games, but only
the halftime.
For the halftime.
Yep.
He's like, as soon as halftime ended, that place just flooded out. He's like, there was good players that were playing in these games. Nobody cared. Nobody cared.
He would just leave at halftime.
I was like, oh, I've heard this before.
And they'd wrap around the stadium and look through the fence and listen. And then as soon as halftime was over, everybody was gone.
Just go to the Ohio State football game just for the halftime show and just leave.
Their
just
band
don't care about.
Did I ever tell you that?
Purdue's band is very good.
That's my dream. My dream, if anything could happen for my kids, it would be for Logan to dot the I.
Whoa.
Because he plays the sousaphone, and that's the instrument that dots the I, not a tuba. It's a marching tuba, and it'd be incredible. I would cry the rest of my life.
It's incredible watching it
in
person.
Isn't it? I know.
Yeah. I gotta see that for my sister's graduation.
Yeah, I went to 2 Nebraska's Ohio State games.
I saw a couple incredible things that day. I saw the dotting of the I, and I saw Tommy Armstrong run back in from his visit
from the hospital.
Oh yeah,
weirdest game.
Yeah,
weirdest week.
That was not just a great one.
Like that was 2016.
Yeah,
Cleveland had just lost to the Cubs in the World Series.
Oh yeah,
Brunson and I are flying into Cleveland that Friday, and like you could just feel like just the depth of the city.
Depression. Yeah,
and depression as you get into the Cleveland airport. You drive to go to that game. It's a night game, so we're just killing time in suburban Columbus doing nothing. Like I think we're just watching football somewhere, stealing their Wi-Fi.
Go to Brothers?
I don't know. I think we ended up we spent a lot of time at either Buffalo Wild Wings or like local sports bars that had Wi-Fi, just because we didn't want to sit in the hotel. You wanted to watch football.
Sure.
I mean, you know this. Like Brunson's diet is a little bit different than most people.
I do not know about Brunson's diet.
Well,
I want to be friends with Brunson.
He won't be friends with you.
No. I try to be friends with him because I admire him greatly.
We'll go to places that would allow him options, and so that just ended up being a fair amount of sports bars or places like that would have Wi-Fi, and we sit there and watch football.
Columbus is a great town.
We just wait.
It's a great town.
It's nothing. Nice. I never did anything in it.
It's a great town,
other than go here and then sit in traffic while going.
You're walking right, and you're checking out stuff, and all of a sudden, boom! There's the arena where they play hockey. It's like it comes out of nowhere.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, look at that.
It's so much bigger than you realize.
It's the biggest city in Ohio.
Yeah, no, nobody knows that either.
My sister's husband lives right by there.
On the thing when you drive in,
right?
That's the only reason I knew.
But people don't.
Yeah, right. Yeah, people think Cleveland or Cincinnati, right?
Cleveland, I think, is second. Cincinnati's third, and then I think it's Toledo.
Yeah, and if Cincinnati, all of the suburbs around it were part of Cincinnati,
right?
It would be.
Yeah,
like the Westchester and all that.
Sprawl.
It's very good. Hey, when we fly in to go see my sister, when we used to fly in, we wouldn't fly into Cincinnati Airport. We'd fly into the, what's the
over in Dayton?
Dayton. Yeah, we'd fly into Dayton because it was a closer drive to her house.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yep.
All right. Well, nobody will be going to Cincinnati from Nebraska's 2026.
You're searching for a segue. That was nice.
In-state crop of players.
Are we looking at 26 first, or what are we looking at?
Let's look at 26 first.
Okay.
Because you mentioned this idea of a topic, and I think it's a good one. And it naturally starts with Jet Tamala, who finished as a 4-star quarterback, signs with Alabama, a guy that Nebraska never really recruited. I don't know. Like you've talked to him more recently. Mm-hmm. When I was doing this, and when Nebraska had yet to sort of land on what it was doing for 2026, he said the conversation was kind of, you'd hear from Glenn Thomas a little bit, but there wasn't a whole lot there. He was still a sophomore going into his junior year.
So that's what I was trying to explain this to my wife, because she goes, well, why isn't he not going to Nebraska? And I said, well, he was never really officially offered by Nebraska. And she said, well, explain to me why not, if he's this good. And I said, well, you got to remember his sophomore year, his first year starting, they were good. And he finished second in Class A Player of the Year. But they lost in the playoffs. He really hadn't had his growth spurt.
Right.
This guy
he wasn't as tall as he is now.
He's now 6'5", 235.
Yeah.
Huge
as a sophomore going into his
6'2".
junior year, he and I were about the same height.
Yep. He was right about 6'1", 6'2".
Yep.
He weighed 190. So he hadn't his growth
not the
spurt
same
yet.
weight. We were not the same weight.
And then so he went to several of the camps. He was at a lot of Nebraska's camps. He threw for them. They talked to him. Eventually Matt Rule told him, hey, just keep working. We like you and everything else. And then I explained to her, I said, you got the Raiola situation with his brother. And you want to take care of your starting quarterback's brother.
Mm-hmm.
I get that. After the junior year, though, when he had committed to Iowa State, it was Missouri and his Iowa State. He picks Iowa State. At that point, I'm making a rush for this guy.
Yeah.
Because he showed you over the second half of that season how good he was. They lost the opening game to that school from Arizona, and then he just proceeded to just kick everybody's ass.
Yeah.
At that point, you got to say to yourself, I don't care who else we have. We can't let this guy leave state. But then, of course, I think it's week 4 of his senior year is when Alabama offered. Actually, his mom's in the hospital, leukemia treatment, and he gets the text with the offer as he's sitting in the hospital, which she's getting through treatment.
That's a gamut of emotions.
So they find out that she has the tumor, right?
Mm-hmm.
The week that Iowa State offers, and then when they're in the leukemia treatment, which they found when they went in to take out the tumor, that's when he got offered by Alabama.
I suspect that part of why Nebraska, by the spring after his junior year, wasn't going to do anything is that they were already pretty well locked in with Trey Taylor at that point.
Yeah, and he also doesn't fit what they want to be.
Right, and I mean, he certainly. I think Jet Tamala is a kind of quarterback that you sort of can build what you need to do around what he.
But if you want to have a mobile dual threat quarterback, and that's going to be your new thing, and we saw that from the 28 guy they just offered. If that's what they're going with,
I don't think they know what they're going with.
You don't think it's identified now?
No.
Over the last 2 classes, they want a dual threat option that is going to get them points in the red zone.
I think they genuinely just want to find a reasonably athletic quarterback that they can do a variety of things with.
Sure.
But if he isn't, he just needs to be athletic enough to maneuver and manipulate pockets more than it is. I don't think they're going to build a running game. I shouldn't say that. I don't think they have to build a running game around it if it isn't there.
This year
they will.
They are going to. And I think going in the future, it's
maybe some of that is Jeep Wade too.
Exactly.
And bringing in, a guy who spent that much time around Hayes King and what they did at Georgia Tech and the way that you can utilize sort of a power component with your quarterback and all of that might have changed. I mean, I'm not in those conversations the way that I was a few years ago with what they were doing. So I had never gotten a sense that
did you watch the Dyson kid? This kid they offered him for 28?
No, I haven't.
He is basically Lenore Sellers.
Oh.
That's who he is. Quicker release.
You like Lenore Sellers?
If Lenore Sellers didn't gain all that weight last year, I think he has a better year.
Okay.
So he went from being a guy who was slimmer and more athletic
like
to
the
putting more weight
safest,
on.
I don't believe in this guy that everyone wants to tell me is amazing.
He wasn't overly accurate, right?
Yeah.
So this kid, it's got a much quicker release.
Okay.
But he's a zone read, option running. That's a great question. I have no idea where he's from. I watched 20 minutes of his tape. I have no idea where he plays. All I know is he does a lot of good things. His footwork needs a little bit of work on some of his deep balls, but he is a very talented athletic kid who I can't imagine is coming here.
Yeah, well, I mean, you make those offers and you see what could happen.
I mean, it's a 5-star. Yeah.
So they don't end up with Jet, and he's just one of multiple guys. Now, when you kind of proffered this question or posed this idea, and it's like, who do you think really ends up hurting Nebraska that they didn't get out of this group?
Yeah.
Jet isn't the first person that I would say.
Is it Darian Jones?
It's Darian Jones.
Darian Jones, the best
player.
He's my favorite
player I watched.
He was the best player I watched in the
last
state.
year.
I saw him 4 times.
Yeah.
Best player in the state. It's not even cool. And look, Jet doing what he does.
Right.
But all the things that Darian Jones
We're
did,
in so lockstep right
in
now.
a game, I watched him get a sack. I saw him get an interception. He ran back either a kickoff or a punt. I don't remember which one. Made a bunch of tackles, caught a pass. Everything he did. I'm like, this is the best athlete. I should say that. Best athlete in the state.
His junior year when they played Central.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I was at the game.
Yeah, I'm at that game. That's the one that Matt Rule and Terrence Knighton and they show up for, and Rule's there, and you see the really flash interception from Torrey Pittman.
Yeah.
Torrey Pittman, who's very good, committed to Nebraska for 2027. I think there's a lot of growth left for him on the football field in a variety of ways.
Yeah.
We'll just put it that way.
Yep.
he isn't anywhere near where Darian Jones was that night as a junior.
Yeah.
When Darian Jones was the best player on the football field, and there's Pittman, there's Kylan Haney, there's Tyson Terry, there's all these guys. There's Max Clark, this linebacker that Nebraska liked, that was at Omaha North. I don't know where he ended up going to play.
Kitten Keith.
What was that?
Kitten Keith.
Yeah.
Right? Kitten Keith. In terms of athletes, Kitten Keith was there. Yeah.
And so you've
got good athletes.
You mean Caprice?
Caprice Keith. I called him his dad's name.
Yep.
I do it all the time. I apologize.
So I think he was on Bellevue West still.
Oh, he was?
Time.
Oh, okay.
I think.
I watched him play the last 2 years at Central.
So then he would have been at Central if he played his last 2 years there.
Yep, last 2 years. Yep.
Or is he a senior this year?
No, he was a senior last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Darian, he was the best. He was the best
Iowa
player.
State, I think.
He was dominant as a wide receiver.
He was
super smooth route runner, super smooth in the catch, and then the immediate burst after the catch, which is sort of a skill that maybe not that people don't talk about it, but there's a way that people run when they run routes. There's a way that they run as soon as they catch the football. That guy had the ability to switch from a glider and smooth as he's running routes to then explosive with the football in his hands, just instantaneous.
Do you remember the batted ball? I think it was against Prince. He went up and took the ball away. It was a high pointed, and it was either Pittman,
in that game.
It was either Pittman or Prince. I think it was Prince. He went up and just took the ball away.
Yeah.
Just basically said, "Well, you're not going to have that," casually. And I'm like, that kid's just a natural.
No,
athlete.
He was so dominant in that game. And then in the job that I previously had, I was dumbfounded. Nebraska was not offering him. And I would be messaging him and I was like, hey, have you heard anything from it's February? He's like, yeah, he's like, there's some interest there, but I don't know if they're going to come through.
That he was going to go to Iowa because of his.
I don't think so.
That one side of his
family.
Here's
what I got told.
Okay.
And I feel reasonably okay saying this. Matt Rule watched the tape and was interested, but wasn't interested enough that he felt like he needed to make an offer.
Was he nonplussed?
He might have been nonplussed.
Oh, I hate that.
Matt Rule's top defensive lieutenant and guy that he trusts with defensive backs more than anybody in the world, Phil Snow, watches the tape, calls Matt Rule and tells him, you're an idiot. You love this kid and you just don't realize it. Right. And you're going to be super mad if he ends up somewhere else.
Yeah.
They offer.
Yeah.
It's April. And it's probably too late in the process. He's more than likely was going to end up at Iowa either way.
Yeah.
But
what's his 100?
Did he
run track?
I don't know.
See, that's something that just ticks in his brain.
Yeah.
Rule always has in his head, what's the speed component? It's
like
Amari Jackson. I know. Look, I am with you.
People did that with Xavier Watts.
I know.
And
I know.
First of all, I'm sitting there watching him and I'm thinking that guy's better on defense than he is as a wide receiver. Yeah. And this is when he's at Burke and he's the best player on the teams with Henrich and Hickman and those guys.
Yeah.
I watched him dominate in the Millard West game and I'm just talking to Sauter. I'm like, why the hell
would
anyone put him at wide receiver? He had 2 interceptions in this game.
You remember the
touchdown.
The bets? They were matched up at the goal line.
Yeah.
And he just dominated that matchup. Dominated it.
That is how I felt. And it's you would hear about Xavier Watts. He's not going to be good enough in workouts. He's not fast enough.
Is he a linebacker? He's something else.
Is he a tweener?
Yep.
Does he fall between these? And it's like, no, put him at safety.
Right.
Just stay away from it. Put him at safety. Go away.
Right.
Well, what happens now? He's really good with the Atlanta Falcons. And so,
boo.
You can't love that.
No.
But I don't know if it's going to be the same for Jones. But it's sometimes. I'm venturing away here, but you get a guy like Pittman where it's nationally thought of as he could be a 5-star. And he is very athletic.
Yes.
He's got a ton of gifted traits that are really, really incredible. But what I want to see from Torrey Pittman, if I go to a Millard North game this year, and when I watched him play for Central, I never saw it in a variety of contexts against different opponents. I want to see him just dominate a game. I want to see him dominate a game in which I watched Jones dominate a game, in which I watched Watts dominate a game.
No one.
Go do that.
I talked to multiple coaches. Nobody was game planning for him.
Jones?
No one was game planning for Pittman.
Yeah.
Nobody was specifically game planning for him. If you're great, they're game planning for you.
They're taking you out of it.
And out of the two guys, the better athlete is Deshaun Prince. He's the better athlete. Another
guy that Nebraska offered that,
grades is his issue. He's just going to be at Iowa Western. I'm sure he's going to have a great year. They'll get him turned around. Their academic program is incredible over there, and so I think he'll be fine. But out of the two, the problem with Pittman, and I'd love to, he wouldn't listen to me, but I'd love to talk to him, is that he needs focus. Whether it is in practice, where they're just off in the corner making one-handed catches, or it's during a game where he's standing straight up back there and not paying attention necessarily what's happening. If he would focus, he can be great. I mean, really, really good to the point where we're looking back going, how did he not end up wherever?
Yeah, and
but he's got to focus, man.
Neither one of us are saying that he absolutely that the book is written on him. I'm just saying presenting it, watching Jones playing in that game and watching him just take over and dominate.
Yeah,
I'm still waiting to see that from Pittman. I'm excited to see what he could do at the college level.
Yeah, I'm excited he's at Penn State.
Crazy good athlete.
Yeah.
Other guys from this list,
the other one I would tell you that I think Amarian Jackson would be better than people think. Another guy who's not a fast
what
runner.
Position?
I have him at wide receiver. I'd play wide receiver. Listen,
and this is another one where people go wide receiver or safety, and I also agree with you on wide receiver. I saw him more as a wide receiver initially.
I always give a name that is too good to be doing this, but you know who he is? He's Keenan Allen. I watch him play. He is Keenan Allen.
That physical?
And he finds spaces.
Yeah.
In the holes in the zone. If you challenge him, he'll go up and take it from you. He'll run by you, even though he's not a fast guy.
Yeah.
I think they got a steal. I really do. I think he's going to be a really good
Iowa
player.
State had a steal of a number of these guys.
They did, and now they're at Penn State.
I like the kid out of Sydney. I never remember how to pronounce his first name, but I think it's Kean Kaiser. Really good athlete.
Yeah, I've never seen him.
Very interested. I think you'd like the film. I'm very interested in how he's used by Matt Campbell at Penn State.
What's the running back that was
Nelson Wheeler?
Yes.
Very fast going to Illinois.
Yeah, he impressed me.
Nebraska was very interested, but not interested, I think, enough.
And where did he transfer from?
Grand Island.
Grand Island. So I obviously didn't see him playing there. I saw him play once, and I love the way he looks like out of the backfield. I can tell this kid is going to be a good third down back initially. So he'll get on the field early.
Yeah. Joey, do we have a caller here?
Yes, we do.
What does Alan want to discuss?
You didn't write anything down.
Well, let's bring him on.
We'll find out.
All right,
he's on.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Alan.
How are you?
Good.
Hey, Michael. You and I would go, not together, but we're at the Central games last year.
Yes, sir.
I wasn't impressed with Pittman really throughout the year for all the hype, right?
Right.
Then I hear recently Dylan's third string at Oregon. So it makes me begin to wonder, how far off? So if Dylan's a third string at Oregon, we thought he was first string here at Nebraska. How far off is our evaluation, or is Matt Rule's and the coaching staff's evaluation across the board? Because I'm seeing him go hard for Pittman, and he's athletic, right? But there were so many games where he was not
impactful,
giving the effort.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I know.
So I'd like to hear you speak on that. Just the overall, how far off are we on our talent evaluation? And I'll just listen, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alan. Appreciate the call. I'd say this about Dylan. The reason why Dylan is third string is because he's redshirting. Right? That's why he's a third string. He's redshirting. The guy who's second string, if they need him to play, they're not worried about him redshirting. Right? And so that's why he is. Everybody,
I think they're giving him enough time to come back from that injury and everything.
Yeah, and he's healthy. I mean, spring you saw him running around, and so Ohio State.
Don't think they're rushing anything.
Ohio State wanted him, and Georgia wanted him. Right. Don't worry about the evaluation of Nebraska when they want him. Pittman, I think, is because they see the potential. Yeah. They look at him and they go, "He's an in-state
Miami
kid."
sees the potential, and now LSU sees the potential, and so this isn't a Nebraska.
Yeah, thing. It's all potential.
And this isn't to say that Torrey Pittman again. I don't want to. We're not running.
I'm not
by any means.
His potential is huge.
Mitch. That's where that rating comes in. It's not what's currently happening on the football field. Is what you would.
He'll have moments where you'll see something and you'll go, "Oh,
yeah, he had an incredible interception in that game that we were."
Yeah, so you say, "Okay,
went through the back of somebody, got around, sort of made a one-handed interception right on the goal line to save a touchdown."
Yeah, so that you'll see those plays and you know, okay, you see what they're talking about. If you want to talk about, and you're more of a recruiting guy than I am, and then obviously Tim is a huge. The problem I've had with them is I think their defensive line evaluation stuff is what concerned me over the last 3 years. I think they're better now. I think
a lot of it is because they hadn't settled on who their defensive line coach is. They didn't.
You're running a system.
Yeah.
Your defensive coordinator, and I know they've changed that. Your defensive coordinator has to set the mode for what you want to be and what you want to do. You have to, in the Big Ten, above everything else, is seal the edge. That's all about either your stand-up or your ends. And your stand-up and your ends recruiting has been questionable.
See, what's fascinating to me, I agree with you. You have to be able to seal the edge just as a general principle in football. I think Nebraska's bugaboo, regardless of coaching staff over the last decade, has been the middle of the field. Like when they were great in 2021, it's because you have Damian Daniels eating up all of that space.
Yeah.
They didn't recruit another guy that looked like that.
Yeah.
In 23, it's Nash Hutmaker and Ty Robinson and eating up the middle of that, allowing everything else to operate around.
Right.
Every time Nebraska football's had a great defense in the last 20 years, it's in the middle of its defensive line. And yet, for some reason, this has been so hard. Like, I like Nick Stoltenberg. He was not that level of player, or you couldn't have put him and asked him to run a 3-4 as your nose tackle.
Right.
And they did for like 3 years. And he was doing it on one leg, and he's a hell of a competitor, and he's giving you what he can.
Yeah.
But there's a world of difference between what a Damian Daniels is doing to that defensive line and a Stoltenberg. And but
they did it in a better system.
Yeah.
With Baker Steinkühler, who should have been playing offensive tackle. They did it with a number of guys when Bo's system fit what they were playing.
Sure.
They have to have a system that puts guys in the right place. How many times did you look at a guy? A great example would be Caveman, right? What's his real name?
Eric Martin.
Eric for 3 years was misused.
Yeah.
They find where to play him. There's multiple guys like that. I think on this team, there are guys they haven't been playing. Now I think the system that they're setting up for and the way Rob Orich coaches based off of what I saw at San Diego State, I think he's going to use those guys much better.
Hopefully.
And
I know you and I have
penetrating
maybe the most
lines.
Riley Van Poppel stock out of anybody.
I got a ton of it.
Yeah.
Penetration inside.
Right.
Sealing the edge. Let linebackers make plays.
Right.
Well, I don't care if you're scooping or you're spilling. I don't care what your thing is. Those guys have to make plays. Make tackles in the open field.
Part of why John Bullock was so good in 23 and 24 is because of what's happening up front. Part of why JoJo Doman had the massive 2021 is that he was just unimpeded to be able to go and do these things.
Yep.
Like
because of that, he ran around and let them run a bootleg on him for a touchdown. I'll never forget that play. Your only job is backside contain.
2019 Purdue, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Backside contain.
That game is like what Minnesota.
Yeah.
For you and the Matt Rule, that is my Scott Frost.
That's yours. Yeah.
I come back to that over.
I was at that game.
Yeah, I was too.
Yeah.
That was a horrifying loss.
It was so bad.
They could have been up 31-0 in the first quarter of that game.
Yeah. Well, they could never put anybody away. Reference Colorado. And then the other player, real quick, I think Bryson Williams.
Okay.
He's going to be a very good player. I don't know what he develops into because, I mean, he could be
another
much
Penn
bigger.
State guy.
If you look at what his dad was or you look at – I think that he could put on a lot more weight. I know he's a safety, but I don't know where he ends up. But I think he's one that I really like. I like Jace Reynolds, who's obviously coming into Nebraska. They won't lose him.
What about any of the 2027? So you have
I only try
Erickson are in there.
I only try to go by the guys I've seen play. So
have you seen Wyatt Liebentritt?
Oh, hell yes. I've seen him at Scott.
So he's going to Minnesota, and that feels like one of those things
he was going
where
to Penn State recruited him early, offered him.
They were on it. The previous staff, not Matt Campbell's staff. Like when it was James Franklin's staff, they were recruiting him.
Yeah, James Franklin loved him at Penn State.
Which is like they're coming into Nebraska for a safety. That tells me a lot.
I had his brother on the podcast, and Barrett said he is so much more ahead of where I was. And Barrett was one of the best tacklers I've ever seen in college, in high school football in Nebraska.
Yeah.
I used to always go to their games because of Vers, and I would call him, I can't say it because the back part's a curse word, because when he hits you, it's what it made your body do, right? That's what he did. And he said his brother.
I think people can probably figure out.
Can process the name.
Rhymes a little bit.
Yes, it does rhyme.
What you're going with.
Huge fan of his. I think he'll be very good. A lot of these guys I haven't seen play.
Yeah,
is the problem. I just haven't seen a ton of them play. But the ones that I will say that I'm very sad as a guy who goes to a lot of Central games that, you know, the majority of their players went to Millard North or wherever they're going. So I'm sad to see them, but I'm sure they have a new set of crews that'll come in and like to play them.
Well, and then Justin Parrish picked up an offer here.
I saw that. Yeah. Well. That's the West Side kid.
That's the West Side kid. Yeah. And then in 2028, name to know early. We talked about him actually. Oh, Tim brought him up maybe a few weeks ago.
I'm shocked that Tim brought up a name.
Micah Santiago, who's now at Westside. I think he was at Bell West for a little while there. Initially, I could be wrong on that, but
I haven't seen them. Well, no, I saw him play last year. Bellevue West play last year, but
kicking it forward a little bit here. All right, well, let's check in with Sam McEwen, see what's going on
nice.
with him, what his thoughts are on any number of issues. Much like Michael Severe, you can ask Sam any question.
Sam covers everything.
And you will get an answer. We'll do that next on Happer and Schaefer.
You're listening to Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone.
Welcome back here on Happer and Schaefer. Michael Severe in for Connor Happer, who is in Cincinnati area, Cincinnati land. I don't know, Skyline, Chillyville, whatever you want to call it. Calling Big East baseball whenever weather allows. Joey, do we have any update there? Is it still scheduled 11 a.m.?
Still 11 a.m. as of right now.
You can
There's
catch
so
that.
much green.
Yeah, you can catch that on Yacht Rock.
Now it's 100%.
Today.
It was 98. Now it's 100.
They are not.
They're not playing
going to-
baseball. No.
Well, I mean, if they start it, they're not going to finish it. But we finish things here on Happer and Schaefer, and we will finish this interview with Sam McEwen, who joins us now. Sam, how are we doing today?
Great. How are you guys doing?
We're good. We're having lively off-air discussions. We're having lively on-air discussions. You've done stuff with Michael Severe. You get into conversations you didn't see coming.
Few, yeah.
And so one of the conversations that we had.
Yeah. You can ask about the 27 class or the 20.
Oh,
class?
no, go ahead.
Oh,
Start with that.
So last segment we were talking about who are the players or who's the player most that Nebraska's going to be sorry they couldn't get from that 26 class with all that talent. Obviously, all the Millard South guys. Is there one guy that stands out for you that not coming to Nebraska that they're going to really miss not getting him?
Well, I mean, I think I'm not going to say Jet because I do think Trey Taylor is just about as good. And I really do. I mean, I think they're going to be okay there. I think Jet's the best player of the bunch, and I could be wrong about that. He could go down to Alabama and tear it up, and it'll feel like, wow, what happened there? Especially given the fact that they took a tight end as the commit. I would probably go with Amarian Jackson. I think that's the player that's going to end up being the guy at Penn State who's really good. Illinois did have a lot of good things to say about the running back though that came from Millard South. So
he's good. It's
entirely possible. There could be multiple players. And then, oh gosh, I'm gonna look bad saying this. The linebacker from Sydney, Kaiser.
It's Kean Kaiser, yeah.
Kean Kaiser.
He's good.
I think he'd have been a good football player at Nebraska, and I think that was. I understand that they signed, Newberry and Jones and Merritt in the previous class. So and two of those guys are in-state kids. So I'm not trying to say that something really got overlooked there. And then they got Will Hawthorne through the portal. But I do think Kaiser's going to be a good football player. So those are probably the ones. I don't know if there's,
How about Darian Jones?
Yeah, I think Darian Jones made. I think the difference for me between Darian Jones and the other ones is Nebraska made the effort. They just didn't get it.
True.
Yeah, I'm not sure that they made the appropriate effort with the other guys, and so I don't know that you can feel like you missed on Darian, other than he made a choice that he wanted to make, and you lose. That's like losing Larry Station. Nebraska would have loved to have had him, but they lost. And then they won other guys. They won on some other incredible players from Central as well. No, so yeah, I'd probably go with those three that I think of off the top of my head. But what are you going to do? I mean, it was a weird cycle. They didn't have a ton of stocks available. They took a ton of in-state guys right after they got here, and they were a little burned by that. Some of those guys didn't stick around, and so I don't know if that affected what happened last year or if it was just the roster size.
Yeah, I think you definitely hit on something there with they felt like they had invested in Nebraska and hadn't quite worked. And so they wanted to kind of move, not away from it, but not as much of an investment in it. And then, of course, it happens in a cycle where there's 9, maybe 10 guys going to Power 4 teams outside of Nebraska. So we'll certainly track and see how that goes. Tim, you wrote about something going into Monday as it relates to kind of where Nebraska is financially relative to Ohio State. Pete Thamel wrote a story, and I don't know if you had a chance to see it. That was on ESPN about just sort of the spending and the spending arms race that's in college football. And he had several people quoted, including Matt Rule, just from the Big Ten Conference, about not knowing where this thing is going to go. How do you sort of see this playing out? Because I kind of the gist I got from that story is that it feels like a lot more coaches, maybe privately, would just be sort of fine if there isn't a cap on this, just because their program's going to spend as much as it can, and they're just going to work with what they have in that regard.
Yeah, I think the coaches would be fine with a cap. And I actually think if Congress came in and said, this is going to be the rule set, and then the Supreme Court backed it up, which you don't really know if that would happen, then I think coaches would be satisfied with that option too. I think that where they're at right now is there's sort of a cap, but there's sort of not a cap, and you can't leverage your advantage. Like if you can find a billionaire who can filter the money through X number of businesses, and then those turn into NIL deals, that's okay. But like the money coming from the university proper is not okay over a certain amount. So like, I think there's a lot of, odd rules that are in place. I think that the hope was that when the revenue sharing cap went in, the only thing that would be left were honest to goodness NIL deals that were based on, your reach as an athlete. In other words, Jeremiah Smith would have great NIL deals, but some random offensive lineman who might be a 5-star, but whom no one has heard of, could not get a giant NIL deal. Well, that's not what's happening. What's happening is people are going, very wealthy boosters are funneling that money through, legitimate business channels, and the CSC is approving probably some of those. We don't exactly know how many the CSC is approved. And I've talked enough, I think, to Troy Dannon to understand where he's coming from when he says he doesn't necessarily believe those numbers. Because just so we're clear, I don't think the CSC has approved all those deals. I'm not even sure the CSC knows of all the deals. And some of the stuff that's getting approved is just not even legal. It's not legal. It's just not. And teams are doing it anyway. And they're like, what is anybody going to do? And that's probably a reasonable point. And so I think it would be good if they either just got to an uncapped existence, or somebody would say, hello, there's a congressional law. Don't break the law. And so collective bargaining is tricky for a lot of reasons. I know that that's the answer that the media likes, because the media just loves those two phrases for some reason, those two words together. But it's actually pretty tricky, because you have to create a separate class of athletes, because you're not collectively bargaining with the men's tennis team. You're just not. And so collective bargaining is sort of a pipe dream. It might happen. But I think it's very hard to achieve. So I think it's either going to be an uncapped world, where it's going to be a congressional law, and, a congressional law might be just as much of a pipe dream too.
Well, you only have 2 years to get that done. Not to get political, they're pretty on different sides, right? The conservative Republicans would like to help the university as much as they can in terms of putting something in place to help. But if it gets back to where it's liberals and Democrats in place, they like the idea more of employees and some of the other directions. So you got to get this done if you're going to get it done. You got to get done with this president and this Congress, however long it lasts, if you want to get what you said done, right? Correct.
Yeah, I think you have to get it done actually in the next several months, depending on where the midterms would go. And let's be clear, I'm not trying to make an overly political comment. I'm just saying that the idea that like this problem is going to go, these athletes are going to be employees, and let's just solve that through the market and collective bargaining, which I think may be the position of, for example, some Supreme Court justices.
Sure.
Ignores the reality of college athletics. It ignores the other 18 sports on campus. And so if you're going to start saying things like this needs to be a business, then the response back is, okay, well, if it's a business, then we're going to cut all the divisions that aren't making any money. And then what happens, and this is where the media is really of two minds. Oh, no. You can't do that. You can't cut all the other sports, because it's actually not a business, except when we say it's a business. Then it's a business. And then it's not a business when you want to cut the track team. And that's where I think a law would probably be better, or an uncapped existence. Because there's almost like these two minds where, Arkansas tries to cut its tennis program. I'm not saying that they should or they shouldn't. I'm saying that the minute they try, then all this money floods in. It's like, oh, we don't want to cut that. Okay, well, that's fine. But you can't do that forever. That can't be a realistic solution to a problem where, it's like, hey, you got to pay these athletes millions and millions of dollars because that's good. But we also want to make sure that the athletes that make absolutely nothing for the university continue to do exactly what they want to do. That's Pollyannish. And I think we've got to try to find a way to get to a place where you either have a cap or you have an uncapped existence where, schools can make a decision on the sports they want to keep and the sports they don't. As it is right now, I think universities are caught in this weird place where they have to give as much money as possible to the football and men's basketball players and simultaneously maintain all these other sports because they would be bad if they cut.
Sam, I was talking with Nate Rohr, the voice of Nebraska softball, yesterday, and he said something that kind of struck me. And then I want to bring it to somebody like you that would have sort of a historical knowledge of Nebraska. He basically said that the addition of Jordy Fromm was so much lightning in the bottle that she alone was able to sort of pick up that program and make it a national powerhouse. Can that happen with other Nebraska sports? Can you think of other examples where there's just an individual, and obviously it's different because she came from in the portal, but just one individual player has so much ability that it kind of changes the trajectory of a program that was, I don't want to say mediocre, but it was maybe average to above average. And then now we're talking about a team that's on the precipice of the Women's College World Series in softball.
Right. Yeah. The effect that a softball pitcher has on a game is probably ranks among, the top 3% that an athlete can have an effect on a sporting event. So I would partially say no, because what she's able to do on the mound is dominant, right? This is dominant. And that's the nature of the sport of softball, a sport that I love. But like the best baseball pitcher on the planet could not affect a team the same way, because that pitcher is not going to pitch, 4 times in a weekend or 3 times in a weekend the way that Jordy can in softball. So I don't know that there's any single athlete that can affect a sport quite like that. I'm trying to Rolodex through my mind all of the sports that we're talking about.
Yeah, only hockey with the goalie. Yeah.
Yeah, goalie.
Every day.
A sprinter, an elite sprinter who could win the 100, the 200, Carl Lewis.
Sure.
100, 200 long jump and get you 10 points on each one in the NCAA championships. You could, in theory, win an NCAA championship mostly because of one person. If Carl Lewis came along again.
Yeah.
Merlene Ottey was, I think, very close to that. I think that would be the other athlete that I think of. But no, Jordy was able to affect a lot just by being here. And then also it's her leadership. It's her ability to galvanize all the people around her, which comes from just knowing everybody. So like a lot of the players on the team know her, not just like nationally, but also locally. They grew up with her. And so she's able to create this sort of energy around that program that perfectly syncs in with the coach and all of those things. And so I think she's probably unique in Nebraska's history, except maybe Merlene Ottey. As I've often said, Nebraska probably had the best 2 volleyball players in the country in 2007 when they had Sarah Pavin and Jordan Larson, and they didn't win the national championship. They won it in 2006 and they got in the Final Four in 2008, but they didn't win it in 2007. And, those are probably the 2 best players in school history. And so if those 2 players couldn't win, multiple national championships in a row, it tells you that rarely can one athlete affect things totally, So that would be my answer. It's a long answer, but she's probably unique. And that's why she's on the Mount Rushmore. If they get all the way to this thing, they get to the College World Series, for me, she goes on she's one of the top 4 of all time. So there's Merlene Ottey, who has, the indisputable number 1. And then you have Jordy, and then you probably have Penny Hines, however you say that last name, the swimmer. And then
Jordan Larson.
The question, what's that?
Jordan Larson.
That's yeah.
I mean, she's the greatest international player in terms of accolades. Plus, she won the national championship. Plus, I named her an award after her. No, I'd put her on that list.
I would put her on the list. I will add that she makes the list based on what she did after she went to Nebraska. Because if we're comparing resumes,
yeah,
Pavin's resume is every bit as good. One of the differences is that Pavin is, Canadian. And so she doesn't play for Team USA. If she was able to have done that, it's hard to say, would she have won a gold medal too? So I would put Larson on there too. I think the question becomes, is there two volleyball players, and is it Larson and is it Pavin?
All right,
we can't continue. We got to go. I understand, but look at her as a two-way player. That's the difference. Her as a two-way player, when a defensive player and playing off.
That's totally all. Yep. That's completely all fair. Larson again is probably is the person I would put on there. The question is, do you have two volleyball players on there, or do you move Jordy Fromm, and does that move one of the volleyball players off, or do you move Penny Haynes off, which I would not do, but some people may. So you can make sure that you accommodate two volleyball players. If you go back 25 years, and we did this back when I was at the DN, we did the top 10 female athletes of the century. There was not a volleyball player in the top 4.
That's crazy.
But now there is. And that's how much volleyball that's how much John Cook did for the team, and how much Jordan Larson and Sarah Pavin and Lexi Rodriguez and all these other athletes did for the sport of volleyball in Nebraska from 2000 until today.
All right, Sam, thank you so much. We have to hit a break. We will be right back with Happer and Schaefer after this.
You're listening to Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone.
Welcome back here on Happer and Schaefer. Real quick segment as we finish up the 8 o'clock hour. I wanted to give Severe a chance to kind of go a little bit deeper into his belief on Jordan Larson on the Mount Rushmore of Nebraska women athletes.
Well, I think when you're talking about, and I understand there's a lot of them that won championships and did a lot of things. When you look at what Jordan was as a two-way player, right, in terms of being both the player of the year and defensive player of the year, her senior year in a very good Big 12, you look at the amount of digs and kills she had combined, right? So just a Nebraska career. And then I understand what he's saying about Pavin being Canadian, but going on in every team she played on internationally made them better.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why they call her the governor. You can give yourself a nickname. That's fine. What was George's nickname on Seinfeld?
Oh, God.
So you can give yourself a nickname, right?
I should know this.
When everybody gives you a nickname and it's like that, you know where you are. T-Bone. So
T-Bone.
She's not T-Bone. She's the governor.
Yeah.
Because when she walks into a situation, she is automatically the person everybody looks at. The pressure of that, by the way, is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the level she was still playing at like 37, 38. If we're just talking about athletes that go on the Mount Rushmore, she needs to be there. And look, Peaches James, and I know how good Jordy is, and Jordy's incredible. And Peaches is not going to, Jordy won the 2 national championships at Oklahoma and Player of the Year. What Peaches did her senior year, go look at the stats.
Yeah, you were telling me.
Look who she was playing against.
No, I remember her career because, like I said, she was like full photo sports page World Herald all the time. And like that's what my judge of like, this is a really important person. And those teams were really, really good. And that was kind of the last time Nebraska's at the level that they're at right now. And again, it's a really dominant softball pitcher to be there.
Yeah. And then your number 2 is nearly as dominant. That's the difference.
Yeah. Well, Alexis Jensen changes the whole complexion.
Most of these teams don't have that.
Very, very excited to see what that looks like. Super regional, where you get another Nebraska fixture in it too, whose name I'm going to blank
Legacy.
On. Yeah, and she's from Scott. I'm going to blank on the name. I will get that when we come back here.
Malin.
Ruby Malin.
Yep.
We got it right before the break.
Yep.
Happer and Schaefer returns. Third hour. Plenty to get into here on Happer and Schaefer.
This is Happer and Schaefer on 1620, The Zone.
Welcome back here on Happer and Schaefer. We finished up the fourth hour. I referred to it as the third hour. I have made a number of errors on today's show.
Well, we're not finishing up the fourth hour because that would be the show be over.
Well, yeah, but I meant to say that we were getting into
starting
the
fourth hour.
I don't even know what I'm saying.
You're fine. You're fine.
It's all good.
You're fine.
We're good.
All
right.
You're fine.
So I mentioned on the rundown, if you happen to be listening at 6 a.m., there's a topic that I kind of wanted to dive into because Eddie George is on Nebraska's schedule as the head coach of Bowling Green, and we're seeing a kind of a large run of former NFL players that are now getting involved in coaching. And I am kind of curious how you what you think of this, because one of them in Marshall Falk is going down. He's going to be the head coach at Southern this year, a school that I'm sure that you have thoughts on, or a program that you have thoughts on. And so what is your interest in this? Like, because obviously when Dion sort of did it, Dion being Dion makes everything larger than it is anyways.
Yeah.
His cachet is much larger than any of these other individuals.
He did better than I thought he would do. I always thought he would take the job, and like a lot of things in his career outside of football, he would just stop. Like the education, the schools.
I can't believe he's still coaching.
I know. I thought he would do Jackson State for a couple years and then either do something in NFL or go back to being a commentator. When he did the Colorado job, I was really surprised. Then I'm like, I'll give him 2 years at Colorado, and his sons are done, and he's still there. I was shocked. I was so wrong about how long he would last. I thought he would not.
This year is an effort to set up Brennan Marion, the new offensive coordinator, as the eventual head coach in Colorado.
Yeah.
I think this is a torch passing kind of year for him.
Yeah, but they're going to be bad.
No, they are going to be.
They're going to be really bad.
They're going to be bad. Now, Brennan Marion's a fascinating guy because of all the different places that he has been, and the sort of that's Jordan Addison's kind of the wide receiver coach and offensive coordinator that, whether you want to give credit to Mark Whipple or not there, but a lot of people would give it to Brennan Marion, the offenses that he ran at UNLV, and he was a head coach at Sac State for 1 year last year. Now they're in the FBS. So he's an interesting guy just in general. But this kind of goes back to there's a bunch of different guys now that are head coaches in college football, and I don't even know if people are all that aware of it. Like
I don't think they are.
Deshaun Jackson is at Delaware State.
Yep. Yeah. Great run last
Michael
year.
Vick was at Norfolk State, I believe.
Yep.
And I mentioned Marshall Falk will be the head coach at Southern. Eddie George was at Tennessee State for 4 years, which is 2 years longer than I realized.
Yeah.
In my head, I was thinking he was only there for 2 seasons.
He was they went College Game Day, I think, went to one of his games.
Okay. They went to the playoff last year. They lost in not last year, 2 years ago. They lost in the first round. It was one
of his rivalry games, whatever the big rivalry game. I think they went to a game because I remember him having on set. He was coaching at the time there.
Yeah.
So the other one is, I don't know what he ended up doing, but where did Ed Reed was going to take a job? Did he end up taking it or not?
He took the Bethune-Cookman job and then left.
Okay.
Something kind of had something.
There was money lies or something there they wanted.
He was really upset. People were really upset because I think he was accused of something that he didn't do necessarily, but something happened under his sort of watch that he just wanted to distance himself from it. Ed Reed, you know how I feel about safeties.
I know how you feel about safeties.
Ed Reed is one of my all-time favorite NFL players ever.
I'm with you.
Just anything that guy does, I am interested in. I wanted to see what it would look like with him. I was fascinated when he was with Miami. I don't know what he's doing now. I think he's whatever
everywhere.
Happened here, he just got away from all.
Do you know who my favorite NFL players of all time?
Favorite NFL player of all time? It's going to be
a safety.
It's a safety?
It's a safety.
But it's not Polamalu.
You want his nickname?
Sure.
Wolverine.
So that's not Ronnie Lott. That's not.
I'll tell you where he played college.
Okay.
Clemson.
Yeah, that's not helping either.
Not helping at all?
No, I got nothing.
What else hint can I give?
Wolverine?
Wolverine. That's what they called him. They called him in the city Wolverine. Wasn't really a national nickname as much as in the city.
Okay.
Everybody referred to him. It's Brian Dawkins.
Okay.
Brian Dawkins is my favorite.
Really good.
I love Brian Dawkins.
So in the city, you mean Philadelphia?
Philadelphia. As a linebacker.
I was trying to think of other safeties, and there's, but I didn't think you were going so far back to the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, was it good? So I loved Walter Payton growing up. Walter Payton, when Walter passed, it affected me like a family member. It's how much I loved Walter Payton as a kid growing up. I actually happened to be, what a story. I was actually in his former agent's living room interviewing him in Albuquerque when Walter Payton passed away. Like literally, he looked at his phone and told me that Walter Payton had died, sitting in his living room.
Incredible.
It was incredible. Anyway, so Brian Dawkins, loved him at Clemson as a linebacker. We're sitting there with all my friends doing the draft stuff. Eagles draft him, and I say, you just drafted a Hall of Famer. And they're like, what? He's going to move positions? I was like, he's a Hall of Famer. He's my favorite player in college football currently. And he went on to be a Hall of Famer. But it just, I love when he comes out of the locker room and does the front roll, back stand up. I watched the video of him the other day when he came back to Philly with the Broncos. All the Philly fans went out and bought Denver Broncos jerseys with 20 on. You know how crazy that is?
Yeah. No.
In a city where they tried to kill you for wearing somebody else's jersey, went out and bought. That's what kind of player he was.
You're something if you're that loved.
And that's how I love that dude. He's one of my favorite players of all time. He's my favorite, probably modern player of all time, for sure.
I wonder if there's something, because I just looked at this, because there's names coming to mind that I knew that their nickname wasn't Wolverine, so I didn't say them. But growing up, like, I remember loving Lawyer Malloy.
Oh, yeah.
Remember Merton Hanks?
Oh, yeah. The neck.
Huge. Well, and then he had the dance. And,
that long neck thing.
But there was something about that position on a football field that always captivates.
Yeah, Russell Gary.
Fascinated.
Do you know who Russell Gary is?
I feel like I'm familiar with the name. I'm trying to think of who he would have played for.
So he went to Nebraska.
He went to Nebraska.
The Saints drafted him. Okay. So the Saints drafted a lot of Nebraska
Broncos
players
at some point.
At the end of his career, maybe he played for the Saints for at least. I think he was drafted in 81, maybe 80, somewhere in there. And Russell played maybe for the Saints for 6 years, something like that. Hard hitter.
Saints and Eagles.
Yeah, just a banger. And that was this period where the Saints kept drafting Nebraska players. Loved that dude. Like as a kid, I was like, this guy is who I want to be, because of the way they hit. It's because the two positions that I think are the most interesting in football are tight end, because you're part offensive lineman, part wide receiver, and safety because of all the responsibilities you have.
Yeah.
You can be an in the box, you can be a heavy dime, you can be a guy like Ronnie Lott, who transferred from being a cornerback to being a safety, Rod Woodson. I just think it's an incredible position.
There's a presence about it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
In a way that's
smart too.
Well,
football's smart for sure.
We talk about Nebraska defenses when things are going well. It's in the middle of the defense. Also, you have great safety.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it's hard to find a legitimately great defense that doesn't have great safety.
Yeah.
And so I don't know how we ended up on safety.
Yeah, I've always loved that. I've just loved that position and following it. And you know what pisses me off more than anything in terms of football from when I was a kid is, yes, we have clearer pictures, but they take the safety out of the damn picture now. They shoot it so tight that we don't get the full 22. It drives me nuts. And you know what they don't do too? Here's another thing they don't do. Pre-snap, show the damn field.
Yeah.
Don't be showing the cheerleaders or showing the crowd or showing whatever you're showing. Show either a replay or give me I want to see who's on the field. Who's come out? Are they in 13 personnel? Are they in 12 personnel? Are they in 21? What are they doing? I want to see where the linebackers are set up. I want to see where the safety's set up. And they don't care about that anymore.
They used to do shots where it would be pulled out a little bit, and then you would get like the little bubble of the name, like so you could see everyone that was there.
Yeah.
And they don't do that anymore.
No, not really ever do that. They just push in so tight now that you can't see what the safeties are doing. I want to see their alignment. I don't have to count and say, is he back there by himself or there two of them back? It drives me nuts.
That's fair. All right. To sort of bring
where
where
we going
to where we were.
Yeah.
One, I am just sort of like interested. Do you think this is a phase that we're currently going through where, like I said, Deion Sanders, it feels like sort of ushered this in, where you have these athletes and almost all of them are black coaches looking to get their start. And I think anybody who pays even the remote amount of attention to this knows that it's very hard for, black coaches to have the opportunity to be offensive coordinators, to be head coaches, to get that opportunity in college football, to get that opportunity in the National Football League. And so a lot of them are sort of just bypassing what you would call the minor leagues of coaches by going and starting as a position. Well, in some cases, quality control, and then being a position coach, then being a coordinator, then finally getting your opportunity by sort of just, hey, I played in the NFL. I have this level of cachet.
Mm-hmm.
This is a historically black college that hasn't had a ton of success. Mm-hmm. I would love to lend my name and credibility behind this, try to build a staff. Let's see where this goes. Do you think this is good for those institutions? Do you think this is a trend that will continue? Like, where do you kind of see
it's great
this
for the institutions.
It brings them notability.
And if you need to raise some money, it's a lot easier to send out Eddie George, Deshaun Jackson,
Michael Vick.
It's a lot easier to do that. Obviously, you're going to raise money. It is sad in a way that some of these guys, well, there's two things. One, they are taking a bit of a shortcut, right? Mm-hmm. Because most of them aren't going from being a position coach or a coordinator to being a head coach. Because of their name and because of what those teams need in terms of notoriety, they're getting a job.
Right.
On the other hand, I think they also know that their path would be pretty long to get to it at a Division I level or even at a Power 4 level.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question. If Deion is hired by Florida State, instead of the direction they went with Norvell, are they better off?
Like right now, today?
Right now, today. This year, going into this year, would they be better off having hired Deion Sanders, who wanted the job, instead of hiring Norvell?
I certainly don't think they'd be worse off.
So we know Deion can recruit.
Right.
Right? We know he can get talent. He's going to get better talent at Florida State than he would get at Colorado, obviously.
Yeah.
I think they'd have been more successful. But they're like, well, can we really take a chance on a guy who has only been a head coach at the college level at Jackson State?
Right.
Can we take that chance on him? Colorado took the chance because, again, they need the notoriety. They need to be able to raise money.
They went all in on it.
Yeah, they did, and I understand.
I remember talking with his name is Adam Mustard Tiger, which is just
that's an amazing name.
And he covers Colorado. And I remember talking to him like maybe 2 nights before it was going to be fully announced. He's like, it's a done deal. Mm-hmm. Like, it is going to be a wild era of football. And he's like, the people I talk to have no expectations that it's going to lead to mass success. It's just the opportunity to try to do something.
Yeah.
And to do something somewhere where it felt dead.
You can hate it. And I understand people hating him because either his kids or Colorado, and I understand that. But as the front face for Florida State, I think it'd have been a great hire for them. He would have gone out and gotten the best coordinators he possibly could get. And some coordinators wouldn't take the job because they don't be that overshadowed by the head coach. But he would have gotten the best ones he could. He'd have got a ton of Florida kids that would have gone there. And you can win with just Florida kids for the most part. I think he would have done a really good job compared to what they are with, the times they had Norvell.
Again, I don't think it'd have been any worse than where they are right now.
They wouldn't have had a 1-11 year.
No. I don't know. I don't know what the high end of it is because I think there's enough trappings that comes with Deion that's sort of hard.
Sure, it's difficult.
Hard to overcome all of that.
Yeah.
It would have been fascinating to see Travis Hunter in that context versus Colorado, which was already, when you and I have had this discussion, I would go out of my way to just watch him play.
Yeah.
I didn't really care what was happening in the result of the game. I just wanted to watch Travis Hunter play.
Yeah.
Which is not something I've done a lot in college football. Like I can think of Larry Fitzgerald. I would go out of my way to watch him play. Yeah. There's certain
Randy Moss, and we're watching
Adrian
Randy
Peterson
Moss every night of the week.
We talked about this with Randy Moss before. Like there's certain players where it's like they just have it, and you want to be around it. Yeah. And he was that for me.
Here's Deion for you. Okay, so obviously I'm executive director of the Jed Award Foundation. The Jed Award Foundation was initially started because of an article that was written about the greatest at every position, and they did the return position, and Johnny was on there, and the guy from LSU was on there, and Deion was on there. So Johnny obviously is a part of the organization. Sure. Our first Legacy Award winner was the guy I can't remember from LSU, 50s, and then was Deion. And so I wrote them a long letter, all his representatives, and said, "Hey, can we get him to come back to the Jed Award Gala? We want to give him the Legacy Award, and he'll bring this full circle." And here's what I got back from them: "This does nothing for us. Thank you." That's what I got back for them. That's Deion Sanders, right? But on the other hand, I think as the front person at that program, at that time, I think it would have been incredibly successful. I don't know how long it would last.
That's the other thing. I think all of it has a shelf life.
Yeah, it would have had a shelf life, but I think it would have worked at the time.
Like, I don't think he's going to coach again after this. I think
I can't imagine. But the dude's got to wear Depends, right? Because of his bladder issue. I mean, he's went through stuff that would kill most people.
Yeah.
and he is going through them all. Lost half his foot. He's got the bladder thing, all of that. And yeah, I can't imagine him coaching after this.
He fascinates me on a lot of levels because I don't know, like, I find myself just, he's a magnet. Like you're drawn to whatever's happening with him, whether you like it or not, or whether you agree with what's happening or not. And then it's like I just said, I don't know what will happen after this is done, but I'm already interested to see, like, is he just going to go be on a studio show? Is he going to, is he the Charles Barkley of college football or NFL or whatever?
Maybe just travel around and watch his kid play.
Like that.
Maybe just travels around and watches his kids play.
You just become the biggest NFL helicopter dad in the history of helicopter dads.
Certainly a possibility.
He's trying already.
Yeah.
Monken already is aware.
I know. Yeah, I want to talk to him. I want to have a conversation with him.
I want to, not as a dad, but
as a coach. I want to talk to him. This is how you make Shedeur better.
But so Dion is a one of one in a lot of different ways. Do you think some of these
never would have expected Deshaun Jackson, by the way. This is the same guy who in the All-Star game as a high school player did a flip and landed short. At Cal, he did the same thing and did the same thing in the pros.
With dropping the,
This is not a guy who is
cerebral.
I'm not going to go with smart or not. Makes great decisions.
Okay.
Right? But at the same time, he seems to be a really good motivator.
Sure.
He took somebody else's players and won a bunch of games with them. He still made one of the most dynamic plays in the history of the NFL. When the Eagles came back against the Giants.
That punt return.
It's still incredible. I still think about it. I still watch it occasionally. I still go back and watch it because I still can't believe it. So I understand why he's
Michael,
successful.
What are you doing? I'm watching that punt return.
I'm watching that punt.
2010?
It's not just the punt return. It's those. They're down 17.
Is it 2010?
I think it's either 09 or 010. Yeah.
The Deshaun Jackson touchdown against the Giants. That's 2010.
It's 2010.
Yeah. I know where I was at.
Yeah.
I was at the
I was at the sports bar.
Packers needed that to get to the playoffs to.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they needed the Eagles.
So that allowed the Packers to win the Super Bowl
14?
They were down big.
I think they were down like 31-14.
If Joey's telling me this allowed the Packers to win the Super Bowl, it changes the entire
changes your feeling for the whole thing.
Yes. It did. It was one of the things Packers needed.
Joey, do you know I miss going to a Packers Super Bowl because my wife ate something bad and got hives?
Of course that happens.
I miss going to the Super Bowl. Superdome's right there. I'm in her apartment. I can see the Superdome. I've got media passes to go to it, and she gets hives. I stay with her instead of going.
I'll need to remember to wear the hat on Friday. I got a hat from that Super Bowl.
Do you really?
It's a real Goodwill Hunting moment for you right there.
It was. I went. What was the phrase?
You had to go see about a girl.
I had to go see about a girl. I had to go take care of a girl instead of going to the Super Bowl.
I had to go see about hives.
Let's see about hives.
Missed out on Desmond Howard's punt return or kickoff return touchdown that won him the Super Bowl MVP.
Exactly. Yep.
The only thing that he did in the NFL, and that guy.
No, I mean, if you look at some of his numbers with the Redskins, he had moments.
Oh yeah.
He just was never what was he? He was top 10 pick. He never was that guy. He was, and I think they actually traded a pick to get him, if I remember correctly. The Bears did. I mean, the Redskins did.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Commanders or something. But yeah, he had moments. He just never became. Was he the 6th overall pick? Because that stands in my head for some reason.
I'm trying.
I am old now. I do not. I will admit.
Weirdly, I was thinking 8.
I do not have the recall that I had.
He was the 4th overall.
4th
pick.
overall.
We were right. It was an even number.
Yeah, it was an even number. Yeah, 4, 6, 8.
Wow.
But he had moments. He just never got to the point where he was worth the 4th overall pick, unless for the Packers and what he did in that Super Bowl.
Is there a current NFL player that you're like, yep, that guy's going to be a coach?
Ooh, like in terms of going to one of the HBCUs?
It could be that. Could be any kind of thing.
Well, obviously, in the end, Kirk Cousins is coaching for somebody.
Yeah. I don't know if he will because I think he's going to be an analyst.
I think he starts off, and then like a lot of these guys, they leave and go become offensive coordinator, or quarterback coaches. We've had a few of those guys do that.
Yeah.
I think he does that. I think he wants to be around football so badly.
I think he's going to be a play-by-play, or not play-by-play. I think he's going to be a color guy.
Color analyst.
I think he's going to be really, really good.
Sometimes they are.
I think he's a great studio guy. Like he did it in the playoffs and was really good with it.
You never know how good they're going to be once it actually happens.
People's relationship with that guy is going to change in his post-NFL career.
My relationship with him is fine.
You're not the one that's upset that he gets paid for being available.
My relationship with him is fine. I got no problem with my relationship with him.
Even after that touchdown pass to
that happened. That
Kyle Rudolph.
It wasn't his fault. I mean, it should have been interference. Rudolph pushed off.
It was not interference.
He pushed off. Dude, come on. I'm not a homer.
Everyone pushes off.
Everyone should get called for it too.
we would never be able to have a play.
You can't
There's
just
holding
take
on every
both
play.
arms
Everyone pushes
and push off like this, and you get it happened. They were going to score anyway. They were at the 17, 15-yard line. They were going to score anyway. But that play wouldn't have been a touchdown.
With the Vikings, you were never sure until it actually happened that it was going, especially in that stupid building in the playoffs.
The quarterback thing on Netflix kind of changed my feelings towards him in a way. Like I had some empathy for what he went through, his injuries and everything, and being replaced by the younger guy. I kind of felt for him a little bit. On the other hand, Goff's wife drove me nuts.
Remember you telling me
this? Nuts. Yeah. I'm like, did they put her character in there just to drive everybody nuts?
Could be.
Yeah, that was, man. And then the great thing about Burrow had no one. Burrow had no one.
The Burrow opinion after quarterback is like, this guy's kind of different.
He's a weird cat.
This is a quarterback?
He's a weird cat, man.
Yeah. They're very, very differing personalities.
That's why the show was good. That's why the show was good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they're going for.
And they're doing it again this year.
We're going to come back. We'll finish up a little NFL conversation. I had one more thing I at least wanted to get to with you with that. And then, of course, we have, as always, our bracket sim of the day as we finish up the show here in the 9 o'clock hour on Happer and Schaefer.
Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone.
Welcome back here on Happer and Schaefer. I'm Mike Schaefer, joined by Michael Severe, sitting in today, which we appreciate. He'll be back on Friday. Hopefully, Happer is available on Thursday. I don't know what is going to happen tomorrow.
I don't have an opinion.
Last I checked, he's on the field watching the team warm up. So
Okay.
Oh, okay.
They're going to attempt to play through the rain.
There is a picture on social media, so you be the judge if you're a weather expert.
All right. Well,
Do you have a favorite yacht rock song?
Do I have a favorite yacht rock song?
Mm-hmm.
I like just yacht rock in general, like Ambrosia. They have a couple of those. I can't think of the names of them right off the top of my head. Those certainly stand out. I mean, pretty much everybody likes Toto, so you know a lot of those. I watched that HBO.
My favorite thing about that song is every black person in America thought they were black. And they went to go see Hall & Oates, and they were like, oh, this is not what I expected at this concert.
Did you see the HBO doc?
I did. I watched the yacht rock. Yeah.
So, like, for me, I
experienced this at a concert.
That was like an enlightening thing where you have these guys talking about it. It's like, yeah, I had no idea that these guys weren't black.
The Blue-Eyed Soul.
They were as big as, their music was as big on the black station.
It was.
I was like, whoa.
It was. Yeah, we would listen. That's funny because obviously,
it was like Michael McDonald.
They didn't put them. They didn't put their pictures on the cover of the albums because of that, which is funny. There's the irony. They used to do the same thing back in the 50s and 60s, not putting black people on the cover.
Yeah.
So people would buy it, not knowing necessarily who was singing it. It's very funny the way it came around full circle.
Music industry.
Just 20 years later, yeah.
Or they just put Pat Boone on everything.
They did. He remade everything.
Oh, Pat Boone. Nobody wants to be compared to Pat Boone.
Somebody says, I enjoy Severe, but he does drive me up the tree sometimes. That's funny. I do drive people up the tree.
I think
especially my wife.
You've probably gotten that a lot in your life.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I came into this job in 2004. I did an hour with Kevin on trying out. Kevin had been by himself for 6 months at that point. Imagine what Kevin was going through. And what the reason why Neil hired me is because he never knew what my opinion was going to be on something. Right. And my opinion is never based off of wanting somebody to like me or because it's just basically the way I think.
Right.
Like at that moment in time, that's the way I'm thinking. And so I just say it.
It worked out.
And I didn't grow up obviously a Nebraska fan, so I don't have that built-in homerism or whatever that some people have. And I before coming here, I lived all over the place. And so it's kind of like a
22 years later, you still got plenty of opinions.
It's 24. I got here. I got here
from
in 02,
the show.
That's right. Yeah. I started at Channel 7 in 02, but yeah. I've been here for longest I've ever been anywhere in my life.
As long as you've been
and it happened way early because I was here when I was here 10 years, it's the longest I'd ever been anywhere in my life at one place. Yeah.
I was thinking about this because I had lived in Columbus for 18 years through high school, and then I went back for a year after college because it was my first job. So I lived there for 19 years. I was in Lincoln for 17. So it came up just shy of it.
Yeah.
And then
you guys been here too?
Well, I spent a brief amount of time in Brookings, South Dakota for college.
Okay, yeah.
And then
one semester
here. So yeah, one semester.
Yeah. I remember you telling me that. I was like, what? Really?
Got up there.
Yeah.
It made a lot of sense at the time when I went there.
Sure.
And got there and I was like, nah, I'm basically going to Lincoln or back to
Columbus. You have crazy South Dakota knowledge. They'll bring something up like a school and you know exactly where the school is. I'm like, what the South Dakota knowledge this guy has?
When Dan Jackson was on, you knew where he was at.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, he told me he was at the golf course.
Well, you could tell. I mean,
but
you
it was
could
some
obviously
random
tell.
town.
Yeah, from the poor cell signal.
Well, look, that's a lot of stuff.
I have random North Dakota.
You get off 29, you're not getting a good cell.
Ooh,
that is true.
Interstate expert Schaefer.
Yeah.
Well, that's the only one that I had to care about was South Dakota because Brookings is right off of that. All right, well, we'll go to this. I've never actually seen your opinion on this. How do you feel about Josh Allen? And the conversation about Josh Allen that emerged after they lost to the Broncos in the playoffs, where you had people that felt like he gets a pass for not winning in these big situations, and that because he's considered popular or that people really enjoy him, that he's not regarded in the same way that when Lamar fails or when other people fail. Where do you sort of come in on that? One, what do you think about Josh Allen?
First of all, let me go back to I believe it was officially his sophomore year in college. They played Iowa, and he had the 5 interceptions, I believe, or 4 interceptions.
We did that to Nebraska.
Yeah, well, he also did it against Iowa.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And that season, actually, he played much better because he had an offensive line in front of him and had a couple wide receivers who went on the league. So the next year, Kevin's actually calling the game against Iowa. And so he called me to think, because, I draft stuff, and I said, well, I don't think they'll be very good this year because he lost a lot of losses. And so he had the bad year. I kept saying as the draft was going along, look at what he lost. Same thing with Jordan Love, by the way. Look at what he lost from the year before, and look what he had his next year before going in the draft. He lost all this talent around him. He's going to struggle. There is not a player currently in the NFL that I cheer for harder to win than Josh Allen.
Why? So
in my neighborhood, we have 3 different Buffalo Bills fans.
Sure.
They fly their flags.
Right.
And if I'm walking by them with the dog or whatever else in around, I'm like, come on, dude. 1, because I hate the Chiefs.
Sure.
2, I want to see the dude win. I think he bust his ass. He made himself a better player. He plays as hard as he possibly can. He's the closest to a 1970s quarterback that we have, which I love the 1970s when I was brought up.
I don't understand that, but
but
not the
physical running through.
Okay.
Yeah, he's that kind of guy, makes all kind of plays. Tarkington with size. And there were a lot of guys. By the way, Archie Manning was that same way too. Yeah. And then the third reason is because I kind of feel for the Buffalo Bills fans.
Sure.
I just watched the 4 falls of the Buffalo Bills. I just rewatched that.
So the 30 for 30?
I just
never watched that. I thought about it.
It's really
I think it'd be too depressing for me.
It is. But it also has these amazing highs.
Yeah.
And then obviously the lows of the Super Bowl. And I remember going to the sports bars and watching those, and I want to see them win. Matt Schick, Matt Schick's a friend of mine. I want to see Schick happy. I want to see him win one. I want to see that fan base, that city who loves their team, who goes out in 18 inches of snow to watch their team play. I want to see him win.
Yeah. I liked him when he was coming out of the draft, in part because I was sort of like struck by, there was a certain level of draft evaluator that just went out of their way to kind of dump on him.
Yeah.
And so from a contrarian standpoint, I was like, oh, I kind of like this. I was in Minnesota when the Vikings were 17.5-point favorites and Josh Allen and the Bills came to town and won that game. And he was incredible that day. And I watched him just completely run past like Anthony Barr, and Minnesota's defense was really good.
It was good.
Year,
Yeah.
And all of this. And so he kind of won me over at that point. And then it's just the same thing. Like, he's playing for this beleaguered franchise, and I want to see him get over the hill.
Yeah.
And he has like a creativity with how he plays and a willingness to just sort of like do something or try something that fascinates me, because generally speaking, the quarterbacks of which I have watched the Minnesota Vikings roll out there for 20 years lack that creativity, other than maybe the 1 year of Favre or the 1 year of Randall Cunningham or something like that.
Yeah, just 2 picks against Iowa. My fault.
So, I mean, there's just something about that guy, but I just thought it was weird. They lose to the Broncos, and I felt like anybody who watched the Bills this year knew like that was not the best version of them.
Well, their wide receiver core.
Right.
I mean,
and so it's kind of like, I mean, yeah, I get it. Okay, he hasn't won to the level that people want him to. I just thought it was odd how there was like this level of, well, now we need to dump on him because he hasn't done this yet.
I think,
which I hate in sports. Like, that drives me nuts.
I think it was
like
because
the whole you haven't won a title, so we need to bag on you for this.
And a lot of incredible athletes have never won titles, right? But I think it was because of the opportunity.
Well, he had a couple fumbles or he had a couple bad plays.
Well, you had the opportunity with the other teams not being, with Mahomes being out there, like, well, this is your shot.
Yeah, no Kansas City, no Baltimore.
You need to carry yourself.
His shot was the year before when they were a better team and they should have been able to pick up those.
His shot was when they're leading and they're 13 seconds.
That's not even him.
That's that defense has got to make a play, or there's the ball on the ground or whatever.
There's that year that they hosted the Chiefs in the playoffs, and that was like their one opportunity since all the other matchups were in Arrowhead.
Yeah. And he's beaten, I believe, besides he and Burrow are the 2 most wins against Kansas City.
Yeah.
Right. So he's
in the regular season.
In the regular season. Yeah, in the regular
season. They're a juggernaut, I guess.
Yeah, I want to see him do. And I think the reason why people do that is because they get to a point where you become the villain. It's the line from Batman, right? You start off and you're like, oh, he's the underdog. He's doing this. He's carrying this team. And then you get to a point where they're just like, that's enough of him, Now he's the villain and he can't get it done.
All I want is success for Josh Allen.
I do. I feel the same way.
That's where I'm at.
And for their fans, because their fans have been through hell.
And their hockey fans just suffered a tough defeat in the hockey playoffs.
I made that joke.
That city in general just is bad luck.
They lose that game 7, and I made that joke, and it's like someone is blaming this on Josh Allen. Yeah.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
So Buffalo lost in game 7 of the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah, in overtime.
Where are we in the finals now?
No, that was a semifinal.
No, I don't know, but
I
was wondering if Montreal. I know it's been so long since the Canadian teams won.
So they got to get through Carolina, and I think that starts.
And Carolina is the best team. I actually did watch one of those because I was watching the Flyers. I was a Flyer fan as a kid, and so I did watch when I was in Philly. We watched them.
Eric Lindros. They would have been
before him. Yeah, all the way back.
That's literally the only Flyer I can name.
It's like 75, 76, 77.
Okay.
Is when I was watching them. And then
Gordie Howe played for
so I'm with everybody. No, we were there and we're watching that series and they're up early 3-0 and then they lose the next 2 while I'm still there in Philly. So I did watch the first game of the Carolinas and I realized, well, Carolina is really good.
Yeah.
Philly's not going to win the games in this series. And I stopped watching it.
They're expected to win their conference.
Carolina,
I don't know if they're expected to, like, if they were to get the Avs or whatever. I don't know who's better.
Is Montreal the last Canadian team?
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
They've been the last.
It's Montreal, Carolina, then Vegas and Denver.
Yeah.
Or Colorado.
Speaking of cities I like to see win, I like to see Toronto win at some point.
They've
suffered a ton and they love that sport more than anything in the world. And they just
wasn't that the irony of the Olympics where Toronto's best player is American,
right?
And
then,
he defeats the Canada of country, or the country of Canada.
They do love you've been amazing today with some of this stuff.
I don't know what is happening.
You've been awesome. That was
great.
very Yoda. That was very Yoda-ish shirt there. That was cool.
That one I at least heard it.
That's like stop yourself on that one. Yeah, no, that was awesome.
We're gonna come back. We'll see if it's going to be a College World Series or a Connor World Series as we finish up the show here on Happer and Schaefer.
This is Happer and Schaefer on 1620, The Zone.
Welcome back one final time here on Happer and Schaefer. Thank you to Michael Sevier for filling in. This is the first time he's learned about a College World Series or Connor World Series.
Yeah, I didn't know about
this.
A
Connor World Series is Nebraska doesn't make the College World Series because Connor thinks that'll make everything worse.
He's a jerk. That's just being a jerk.
He has
Don't think about yourself.
Yeah,
think about the people of Nebraska and your audience.
It led me to want to, because you got here right around the time that they would have been.
I got here in 02, the year after 01, and then I was there for 05 for the whole thing.
Yeah. What was it like? You know, you were doing sports talk though at that point. You weren't still doing news, right? In 05?
I was doing both.
Okay.
From 02 to 10, I did both.
Oh, okay. I always get that wrong.
Yeah.
All right. What was it like for you? Like Omaha just being taken over?
Dude, it was at 05. I tell people all the time, 05, in terms of peak Nebraska sports, I think that's the spot. Because if you were there that first day when at 6 o'clock in the morning, the line was around the building for people to try to win the lottery so they could exchange their tickets for reserve tickets, the crowd, the Husker power chant, an hour before the game started, you're sitting in one of the press boxes. Great thing about Rosenblatt, you could sit in one of the booths. It was so loud you couldn't talk to the person next to you. That's how loud the crowd was. Yep. And then, of course, what happened in the games, and man, it was incredible.
Want it so bad.
I know, I do too.
I want it.
And
I didn't
Connor
get to it as a kid. I never got to Omaha while they were down here as it was happening.
Yeah.
So that's, for me, it'd be
incredible,
phenomenal just to be able to.
I think Nebraska, they need it. You know, I think they just need something.
They need to get through. They need to get to a super region,
because even the volleyball team, as good as they've been these last couple of times, haven't won it.
Right.
So it'd be great to have somebody reach the pinnacle of the sport, being at the College World Series.
Yeah, that would be tremendous. All right. So on pair ratings today, Nebraska now up to a 9 seed.
Wow.
They still have Arkansas, so the narrative will be huge if that were to happen.
Arkansas coming here.
Yes. Gonzaga, Oral Roberts. We hit the simulation.
Mine is crazy.
Yeah, mine is too, actually. So, it is a College World Series for me, which means Nebraska wins their regional. They win in Starkville in a super regional.
Woo, they're in Vegas.
They're in the CWS.
Yeah.
Along with UTSA.
Oh boy.
Wake Forest, Oklahoma. That's their side of the draw.
Yeah.
On the other side is Southern Miss, Oregon State, Alabama, and Ole Miss.
Oh, wow.
That would be a fun College World Series.
So mine is UCLA, Nebraska, Wake Forest, North Carolina on one side, and then Georgia Tech, West Virginia, Texas A&M, and Texas on the other. Nebraska's in the championship series, losing to Texas.
Oh, wow.
In the championship series.
The crowds would be ridiculous.
Insanity.
Would be ridiculous. By the way, Mississippi State is where the signs in the outfield were for Joey Bell that caused him to lose his mind.
Do you think Joey Bell, Albert?
Yeah, Albert. Yeah.
You know my guy,
Albert.
He
was Joey
Bell.
At the time.
He was Joey at the time. Whenever I tell you about Albert Bell, you always refer to
Joey
him as
Bell.
Joey.
That's how I remember him. Watching him play last year.
Immediately. Do you think the bars down by the stadium would be prepared to handle the capacity of people?
I think they would know. They
would know. Certainly,
could they physically have enough beer?
I just think it would spread so far out because you would hit capacity.
How many like outside
getting into lefties
areas
would be impossible?
Well, like the embassy has that outside courtyard.
Sure, yeah.
How many of those are out there? Because you can extra in that, and you could pile them in. And I don't know if you always have to worry about the fire code when you're outside as much as when you're inside.
I think it's an inside thing.
Yeah, so you can stuff more people there.
There's a property capacity, I would assume, but it's obviously extends.
That'd be incredible. It would be nuts.
So we'll look at the projected bracket here. Nebraska, a 10 seed. They would have Tennessee, Campbell, and Florida Gulf Coast. If they win, they would get Auburn as the 7. They win, but it's Arizona State, and Arizona State beats them in a super regional that would be in Lincoln.
Arizona State, I believe, second most appearances in the College World Series.
Yeah, that sounds right. It's been a while for them.
It's been a long time. The first couple of years I was here, they were here.
The championship in this one is Cincinnati over UCLA, so that's wild.
Cincinnati?
Yeah.
Wow.
Are they good?
They are good. They are a possible 2 seed in a Lincoln region.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
awesome.
the Big 12 is very good at baseball.
That is good.
There's like SEC, Big 12, ACT, Gap, probably Big.
What's the
10.
North Carolina team that's good now? Is it state or regular?
North Carolina.
Regular.
They're back. Okay.
Yep, they're good. They're going to be a top 4, top 5 seed.
North Carolina State will never ever forgive COVID.
Right up there on that.
They
right
will never ever forgive COVID.
That team was.
They're
awesome.
still mad right now.
That team was awesome.
It was a really good team.
They would have won the. They would have won the college World Series.
Just stay away from each other.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't the option.
It was not. Apparently, it wasn't the option for them. The other teams that finished, it was for them.
You never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
All right, Michael, thank you so much for sitting in today. Everybody, thank you for listening to a unique version of Happer and Schaefer that you'll get again on Friday. What version will you get tomorrow? I have no idea. Creighton plays at 11 on Yacht Rock. Middays with Matt next.